I pledge allegiance to the code that my soul won't rest until I get what's owed. Oh, I pledge allegiance to the code that my soul won't rest until I get what's owed. Oh, may Africa reap what they sow, so Africa wants to keep what they sow. No, no, no. You showed us, you told us, bye, bye, bye. You owe us and I ain't forget, I ain't forgive. I'll fight for my lineage as long as I live. Harriet Tubman, Frederick Douglass, Rosa Parks, Philip Randolph, and Dr. King. I do it for them, I do it for her, I do it for him. We don't flee, we don't flee, we don't flee, we stay. I pledge allegiance to the code that my soul won't rest until I get what's owed. Oh, I pledge allegiance to the code that my soul won't rest until I get what's owed. Oh, I pledge allegiance to the code that my soul won't rest until I get what's owed. Oh, I pledge allegiance to the code that my soul won't rest until I get what's owed. Oh, may Africa reap what they sow, so Africa wants to keep what they sow. No, no, no. You showed us, you told us, bye, bye, bye. You owe us and I ain't forget, I ain't forget. I'll fight for my lineage as long as I live. Harriet Tubman, Freddie Douglass, Rosa Parks, Philip Randolph, and Dr. King. I do it for them, I do it for her, I do it for him. We don't flee, we don't flee, we don't flee, we stay. I pledge allegiance to the code that my soul won't rest until I get what's owed. Oh, I pledge allegiance to the code that my soul won't rest until I get what's owed. Oh,
Black Wall Street resistance, 1939. FDR, no deal assistance. 1941, Philip Randolph, let the end and go to his instant. Blacks were aspirational. 1800s, free men were aspirational. Early 1900s, there were Negroes rules. Oh, 1800s, we were black and beautiful. Early 1800s, free blacks were aspirational. Late 1800s, free men were aspirational. Early 1900s, there were Negroes rules. Oh, late 1800s, we were black and beautiful. They've always had a system. They've always had a system. We always had a system. We always had a system. Fighting 6'3", general order 456.
All right. Let's get right to it. Let's get right to it. This is crazy. So Africans are glazing Marcus Garvey, and like they're so late to the party. Like they're so late to the party. You know, the Caribbean tried this, Pan-Africanists in America tried this, and now here comes the Africans. Marcus Garvey said, and that's funny because the white supremacists they use Dr. King. Oh well, we can't spread hate. Dr. King said love everybody. So white supremacists uses Dr. King when they did something crazy to us, and Africans are now using Marcus Garvey as a way to say, hey man, look past the cosplaying, the disrespect we give you guys. Because after all, Marcus Garvey said, we all are one family. Listen to this crazy revision of Marcus Garvey history. Listen to this African weirdo. Watch this right here. This guy, he's gonna do it. Now this is the definition of glazing, what he about to do for Marcus Garvey, in case anybody didn't know what glazing was.
In fact, Malcolm X's parents were in the Garvey movement. Malcolm X's parents were in the UNIA.
So
Elijah Poole, before he became Elijah Muhammad, before he became the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, he was in the Garvey movement.
no the hell he wasn't.
138. Yes, 138. That's the number you should be thinking about today, because it is exactly 138 years ago that the Honorable Marcus Mosiah Garvey was born. It is exactly 138 years ago.
Family, he is clearly reading, trying to pretend like he knows this stuff. And first of all, it's all bullshit. Elijah Muhammad was never a Garveyite. Okay.
That God gave us the greatest mind, the greatest black leader, and the greatest organizer we have ever had in the history of mankind. The Honorable Marcus Mosiah.
Yeah, that damn accent. Oh my God. I don't know if it triggers you guys, but that shit triggers me. The founder of Sell Africa to Africans. Yeah, you sold us to Europeans. So you guys do sell stuff.
Garvey. Yes, 17th August 1887 is when he was born. And Marcus Garvey is the best fit of the African proverb that states that when an African child is born, it is a sign that God hasn't given up on us. And truly,
Family, when did you ever hear Africans big up Marcus Garvey? It was FBAs first. It was Pan-Africanist FBAs, and it was Caribbean people, the Caribbean who came late, and now it's Africans.
God outdid himself when he made him. So today we celebrate Garvey. Today we honor Garvey. And today we want to say thank you to Garvey, because if it's not for his contributions, we wouldn't be here today. In honor of Garvey, today we are going to talk about 5 things you might not know about the Honorable Marcus Mosiah Garvey. In 1887, August the 17th, Marcus Garvey was born. He lived to be 52 years old. He transitioned in June 10th, 1940. He died off of a stroke. June 10th happens to be a special day for me because it happens to be my birthday. And I tend to celebrate Marcus Garvey on that day more than I celebrate myself. Not because I hate myself, no. It's because I fully understand the heaviness, the significance, and the importance of Marcus Garvey. If it weren't for him, we wouldn't be here today. He laid the foundation of civil rights. He laid the foundation of anti-colonial fight here in Africa, and we owe our life.
Family, he laid no foundation of civil rights in his country. He linked up with no civil rights activists. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, family, he's reading something, but the website got to be jokes.com. He's never promoted civil rights. This dude is wilding.
Lives to him. Number two, Marcus Garvey made the greatest black movement in the history of mankind. The universal.
What? What? Yeah. Where is he? Did he write? He must have wrote this stuff himself. His birthday, January 1st. Bush me babble. This might be his great grandchild. Yes, this is family. This is called glazing. When you give undeserving flowers and just make up shit. He said the greatest black movement.
Negro Improvement Association and African Communities League, UNIA, ACL. Till this day, nobody has ever overtaken the UNIA. It organized 6 million plus African people.
Family, he's lying. It's 6 million nothing. Okay, that's a bogus number and not even in the millions, not even close. That is a bogus, unconfirmed number. He can never source that up.
6 million plus African people in the 20s is no joke.
Yeah, and it's no truth either. You just made that up. Peace, Donnie. He just made that number up. 6 million. Well, we can't believe nothing you say. You just said Marcus Garvey laid the foundation for the civil rights movement. Hello, you ever heard of Frederick Douglass? He got Garvey beat by like 50 something years.
No joke, my friend. And you know why? It's because people saw his vision. Marcus Garvey did not discriminate on black people based on their skin tone, based on their shade of black, based on their religion, based on their wealth, based on their class, no. His whole idea was, regardless of our background, regardless of our shade of black, regardless of our class and wealth, we belong in one race. If we are of African descent, we belong in one global African race, and we should progress forward as a global African race.
Global African race. Okay. I'm telling you, these guys are just $6 million he scammed us out of. These guys they got to update their tether. Dude, ain't no African race in America. What are you talking about, man? Yeah, they got to update their tether babble.
Together. That's why he organized 6 million plus African people. Because people saw his vision. People saw his vision. Number 3, did you know that J. Edgar Hoover, yes, the first FBI director, one of his first assignments was to take down Garvey? And it wasn't even called the FBI at that time. It was called the Bureau of Investigation, BOI. And surely Marcus Garvey was sentenced to 5 years in prison off of a phony charge of mail fraud. Of course, he was framed. 2 years.
Framed. So he didn't sell stocks to ships he didn't own. So he didn't promise returns of an investment was going to be people be rich. Not one person made money off Garvey stocks, BSL stocks. This guy said, of course he was framed. Sure he was. Yeah, his own members came out and was like, yo, J. Edgar Hoover, get this guy.
Later, in his prison sentence, his sentence was commuted by the president at that time, President Calvin Coolidge, and then he was immediately deported straight to Jamaica.
Right. They wanted him out the country. Now tell us about his legacy. Tell us about his great legacy in Jamaica, right? Just because you leave America doesn't mean you're not who you are. Malcolm X leaves America, he's still Malcolm X. Dr. King leave America, he's still Dr. King. Marcus Garvey, according to him, was so great, he leaves America and goes back to his homeland. So I know he did double over there. What happened in Jamaica?
It wasn't until Joe Biden
What?
where he posthumously pardoned him. Imagine, almost 100 years later is when Marcus Garvey was pardoned by, of course, President Joe Biden. And
Yeah, you do know pardon doesn't mean you're innocent, right? You do know people get pardoned and they're still guilty as hell. That don't mean you're innocent, right? You have to know that.
you know, I want to credit that not to Joe Biden, but to Dr. Julius Garvey, Marcus Garvey's son, because he has been fighting hard for decades to make sure that his father is pardoned. And of course, I'm happy that his hard work paid, because it is not until 2025 January that Marcus Garvey was pardoned. So hats off to you, Dr.
So what? He still was guilty as hell. Or mail fraud and scamming Foundation Black Americans. Like, speak to that.
Julius Garvey, hats off to you. Number 4, did you know that the famous red, black, and green flag that we all use today in various, activism movements, it was made by Garvey. In fact, it was debuted in Madison Square Garden. It was created by Garvey in that order: red, black, and green. And red, black, and green is a very, very, very important flag because those colors are supposed to be in that order. And there's a reason why it's in that order. There's a reason why red is on top of black.
Yeah, well, can you explain why your homeland didn't adopt that flag? Why Africa didn't adopt that flag? You got your own flags, buddy. Nigeria is green and white.
Because Garvey's idea was, we are united in our African blood. Not everybody has the pigmentation of black. No. But we all share the same African blood. We as African people share the same African blood, regardless of our skin tone, regardless of our shade of black. Some of us are light skinned, some of us are dark skinned, some of us are caramel, some of us are what? But we are in one African blood, which is why red is on top of black. Number 5.
He's competing to be Papa, Prince of Pan-Africanism. They all doing it. They're all competing.
5, the last one. Did you know that Marcus Garvey inspired directly and indirectly most of our black heroes? Oh yes. In fact, Malcolm X's parents were in the Garvey movement. Malcolm X's parents were in the UNIA. Elijah Poole, before he became Elijah Muhammad, before he became the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, he was in the Garvey movement.
Yeah, family, listen, I don't know where he's reading this stuff from, but I would love to look at it because there's no serious website at all.
A plethora of black heroes have cited Marcus Garvey as one of their inspirations. In fact, as their main inspiration. Kwame Nkrumah has cited Garvey. Of course.
Wait, what the hell? Dude, this dude is Ghanaian.
Dr. King has cited Garvey. Malcolm X has cited Garvey. Nnamdi Azikiwe has cited Garvey. And Marcus Garvey is one of the inspiration of the Rastafari movement. I mean, Marcus Garvey, to me, that's why he's called the father of Pan-Africanism. He took Pan-Africanism into a whole new level.
Yeah, you scamming like
which
hell.
is why today I want to thank him, I want to honor him, and I want to say that if it wasn't because of you, we wouldn't be here today. Let us all celebrate Garvey. Let us all thank Garvey. Let us all honor Garvey. And the best way we can honor Garvey is by uniting. Let's stop all.
No. You see, he's trying to use Garvey to get a piece of the pie. Listen.
All this beef. Best way we can honor Garvey is by uniting. Let's stop all this beef. All this African American versus African beef needs to stop. All this FBA things needs to stop. It needs to stop.
FBA need to stop. Go back and call yourself African American, but FBA needs to stop. No, you don't need a unique ethnonym separate from tethers. Nope, that needs to stop. Go back to sleep.
All this tribalism that we have, even here in the continent, even here in Kenya, it needs to stop. The only way we can honor Marcus Garvey is by uniting as a global African race.
All right, now go pitch that go pitch that Marcus Garvey bullshit to the Kenyans. See how far that goes. Go. Look, you say he was so inspirational and he shared, all these great things about him. Now go share Marcus Garvey with your Kenyan people. That would be 100% nothing burger.
And by realizing that we cannot realize true, complete freedom if we don't unite, if we don't have one economy, if we don't have one political system, if we don't have one social system, if we don't have one currency, if we don't have a one Africa, if we don't have a one global organized African race. That's the only way we can honor Garvey. That's the only way we can honor Garvey. 138 years ago is when Marcus...
Yeah, dude is nuts. Hey, peace, Alfonso Morris. I can't drop the link tonight because it's going to be a long night. I got 2 more videos to play. We ain't going to be out of here till about 12, 1 o'clock. So anything you will add to, you'll push me back to 2, 3 a.m. I'm on Eastern time. But I will be live tomorrow morning. So Alfonso Morris, you're welcome to ask the link tomorrow morning and, say what you got to say. But tonight it's going to be too much. Watch this. See, I got it loaded. I got loaded up in here. Here goes some more bullshit.
Thank you so much for coming on.
Because the next video, this is 53. I'm gonna skim through this one. This is 53 minutes, but it's this one that's gonna be the long one. This shit is 2 hours. Damn, 3 hours? 3 hours. Yeah, it's 3 hours. I'm gonna try to skim through some of it though, but it's gonna be a long night.
The platform. I know, family, what you just saw, the trailer that you just saw, the promo video, was for the RBG Centennial Conference that's going down August the 7th through August the 8th. Do I have the dates correct, Brother Omawali?
It's August the 8th through the 9th.
He's another guy competing for Papa. Prince of Pan-Africanism, like all these nobodies.
Okay, Marcus Garvey.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So as you see, the red, black, and green flag is behind me. So 100 years ago in 1920, our ancestors got together under the leadership of the Universal Negro Improvement Association, where we held the first international convention of Negro peoples of the world. During that particular convention, which was held from August the 1st through August the 31st, people were their anniversary. So sure, the plan, plot, and strategize our actions as a people for the next 100 years. So that's what this conference is all about. As the trailer stated, we have over.
Family, as I said before, that's all they do is conferences. They've been doing conferences. Pan-Africanism actually started in a conference in the 1900s in London. That's all they do is conferences. They just get together and talk. That's it. Never work. Just talk.
We're 70 speakers on everything from education for self-determination to work around freeing our political prisoners, right? And Babu,
that can pull up and maybe share your screen with us.
I don't have it online.
If we, yes, I'm looking at the Wikipedia article on it, and so yeah, the Declaration of Rights of Negro Peoples of the World, and they show the actual newspaper. From the Negro world.
Share my screen.
Okay.
Can you see everything? This is it. Again, it was on August the 30th. It was significant because during this time, there was Garvey and the UNIA who were in the process of forming a government, right?
This the part. This dude said the UNIA. Look, that's what they're talking about today. So this, I'm a Wally guy. He says he's a Pan-African nationalist, whatever the hell that means. But he's lying, saying Marcus Garvey was trying to do what? A government.
Scarlet. Every race has a flag except the coon.
Mm.
Yeah. So in response, to that, Marcus Garvey and the UNIA, who were in the process of forming a government, right,
Forming a government on American shores, family. Who believes that stupidness? That stupidity. Who believes that? Forming a government on American shores. This guy's out of his damn mind. It can't be Liberia because they have their own government. So, like, what is this dude saying? Who's going to allow this? The Jamaica had their own government, or at that time, it was being colonized. What are we doing, man?
into Garvey and the UNIA, who were in the process of forming a government, right, forming us into a nation, a government, so to speak, in exile, preparing for us to reclaim the land and to redeem Mama Africa. But when you see
Oh
that
my
flag
God.
behind me, that's not a protest flag. That flag is the flag of a nation of people, and by nation, I'm referring to all African, and by African, I'm
Okay.
referring to all Black people around the globe.
That's right.
There's no such thing as all black people around the globe, but family, the 1920 Harlem Convention and all that stuff you're talking about, UNIA had no sovereign territory. I mean, territory. They had no sovereign territory. They had no recognition, no tax base, no treaty power, and no standing army. It was a mass movement. It was a mass movement, not a state. So he just made up a whole bunch of just foolishness for no reason. Let me skim through this. It's gonna be a long live.
27 years old when he started the UNIA, right? So from the
Mm.
age
Okay,
of
no,
17,
because he's gonna lie and say he had millions of whatever. And guess what? If he had millions of followers, so what? Like, what does that mean? That don't mean nothing if nothing got. How you have? So he's gonna say Marcus Garvey. Okay, this works against him. If Marcus Garvey had millions of followers, how did he get nothing done with a million people? We got nothing done with a million people.
I'll stop there.
No. I think that what you gave was a wonderful summary
Mhm.
of that. And I want to get into some of the things that the UNIA accomplished. So I want to talk about the Black Star Line and how we were able to buy stocks and shares in that and get into the Negro world, the newspapers, his nurses. And so let's talk about some of the things that they had going on, some of the programs that the UNIA offered.
Yeah. So the UNIA was
Well, I'm gonna save him time. Um, all of the stores, restaurants, printing plant, hotel plan, Dial Venture, etc. All of them were mostly short-lived and unprofitable. Family, they're just talking. Oh, he had a restaurant, he had stores, hotel plant, all unprofitable and short-lived. Okay. All right, so let's move on. So there's no need to even do that one. That was a spoiler alert. Let me save y'all time.
in the islands can be sold to Black people in the U.S. and we can do commercial trade between Africa, the islands, and the United States. So Garvey wanted to connect us all, right? So we could do commerce and trade amongst one another, so that we could be self-sustaining, right? Because he recognizes that in terms of our commercial engagement or our commercial activity, it needed to be international in scope. So Garvey had in his mind the need for us to redeem the African continent, and the only way for us to do that was through the vehicle
Wait,
of nation,
I
right?
missed
So
something. I
Garvey,
want to play it.
what he was trying to do to that statement back Dow's Corporation, where Garvey said, if our children are going to be playing our line, to tell you about tips were so that we could do islands can be sold to Black people in the U.S. So the crops that are grown in the islands can be sold to Black people in the U.S.
All right. Anyway, so Garvey promoted repatriation in Liberia. We all know about that. He gave parades and speeches. He sold the dream beautifully. He also sold stocks to finance the ships to get people to Liberia. the business plan and the Exodus promise, you know, Africa for Africans, and we're going to go to Liberia. Those things were blended, okay, which multiplied risks. Like when you do that much, you know, we say doing too much. When you do that much, you just have nothing but risks, okay? But what he was trying to say was Marcus Garvey was he got the ships mainly for commerce and not repatriation. So they're trying to rewrite history in your face. No, he literally talked about getting all of us as much as possible, millions of us. He had 11 million. Well, they'd be lying. He had 6 million, 11 million followers. Well, he was trying to get all of his followers to Liberia. That's a fact. Okay, so we're not going to let them sit here and rewrite history. Okay, now let's go here. All this romanticizing and glazing over Garvey. It's not going to work.
For the development of a nation, what he referred to as a political superstate on the African continent that will be strong enough to protect the interests of African people wherever they are. So I think that was very significant work, and it's work that we are trying to carry forward, right? When we look at the theme of this particular conference, it's Garveyism and the renewed cry for African nationhood, right? So we are once again re-examining the significance of Garveyism and what that means for us in the 21st century. I mean, Dr. Amos Wilson wrote a great book about that, Garveyism in the 21st century, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
I have it on my bookshelf. I know.
Trash.
Look,
who was the fourth assistant president general of the UNIA, Marcus Garvey referred to her as the most loyal and most significant Black woman in the African race. But she led a party on behalf of the UNIA over to survey. And when they tried to send the equipment and everything, the Liberian government, kept their equipment, kept their money, and not only did they steal the land, they sold the land to Firestone. And W.E.B. Du Bois actually helped to broker that relationship between Firestone and the Liberian government. So we have to keep in mind that these colonial governments and these Black people who are
Garvey never secured an African sovereign partner without land, law, or allies. The superstate was rhetorical, not implementation pathway. No implementation pathway. Garvey would just, everything he's saying is what Garvey said he would do and never did. Get to where he did something. Oh, commerce, ships to sell across the seas for international commerce. Oh, Liberia. Oh, this and that. All these wonderful dreams. Just talk like they do now. Let us know when he actually did it. Okay. So let me save some more time here. Garvey, we all know, everybody knows. If you heard Garvey name, you know that he was pitching the Back to Africa thing to Liberia, right? It turned out, family, this what makes him a double scammer. Okay. He's selling a dream that he's going to get Foundation Black Americans to Liberia to live there away from white supremacy in America. But did you know he did not first secure binding written concessions from the Liberian government before selling the repatriation vision? You heard me correctly. He sold the repatriation vision without checking first with the Liberian government. Okay? Liberian repeatedly balked. By the mid-1920s, it prioritized Firestone's rubber concession 1926 and explicitly shut the door on UNI settlers like Liberia, family. Shit. So when Garvey got all these FBAs behind him and tethers, and he had all this money behind him, now he goes to Liberia. Like, look what I got. I got all these FBAs with me. They want to come to your country. What we gonna do? They said, man, go to hell. They said, you're not coming here. So now he had to pivot because he didn't sold his repatriation dream. So now he got to sell something else. UNI members, some of them who actually, some tried to sell to, I think, two guys, sailed to like Liberia. No, what happened to him? Turned back, tails turned around, deported. Okay, and that is a predictable outcome when you don't have formal entry guarantees. So, family, he sold the back to Liberia dream without first checking with the government. So he sold stocks of this glorious dream, and then when it's time to deliver, the Liberian government said, "Yo, I know nothing about what you're doing, and you cannot come here." You know, he basically said, "Didn't you talk about having your own government?" Nah, hell no, you're not coming over here. So the fact that these guys got to wrestle with is that the Black Star Line ship or business, they overpaid for old defective ships, maintenance, insurance costs spiked, inexperienced management, weak accounting, and promotional overpromise plagued operations. And as a result, Garvey was convicted, rightfully so, of mail fraud in 1923 for how the BSL stock was sold. He was deported in 1927. So these guys claim, oh, he was framed, sabotaged. That just ignores court records and BSL's own paper trail. Okay. So you're going to miss us with that. Now, family, he is buying ships that need maintenance and all type of service, and he's only hiring his members. None of them ever sailed a goddamn ship before. So he got them out there freestyling. Come on, man. He out there with random members trying to wing it, how to sell a ship. Okay. Um, so the bottom line is that he had a lot of great speeches, he had a lot of shows, parades, newspapers, and but he built no durable institutions, no bank of scale, no lasting ship line, no territorial beachhead, no legal migration corridor to Africa. Nobody was rocking with this crazy guy. All right. So this guy right here did a whole revisionary presentation about Garvey. It's like, dude, stop it. He made up excuses for all Garvey's failures, and I got some interesting information on Garvey. And what I like to do, because I researched a lot on Garvey, but there's a lot of stuff out there that I did not know. And I'm always searching the web to see what else somebody else is saying, and maybe I can learn something and add it to what I already know. You dig? So I came across this right here. The Friedman brothers. Grim Friedman, we got BTP Ali, Naeem. Okay, now this video is actually called this. BTP stands for Be the Power, a critique of Marcus Garvey Friedman. Friedman followed many false prophets. Okay, so I think they did a decent job. They went at an angle that I didn't go with Garvey. Interesting. Uh, Other things they touched on it, I touched on because it ain't much information out there. You're gonna read the same stuff. All right. Let me see the chat. Chat good. All right, so I think these brothers did a good job. Peace in the chat. Let me see. Let me make sure the chat liking the video because the night chat usually like the video. Tonight ain't so good, but yeah, no, get on it. But they're gonna drop some interesting information. I think they're gonna start with the UNI flag. Family, this is gonna drop your jaw. JAW, the Marcus Garvey RBG flag that everybody brags about. Listen to this right here.
Flags. Juneteenth has been hijacked right? The red, white, and blue that represents the Americanism of Juneteenth has been hijacked by Garvey's colors of red, black, and green, which shows how pervasive Garveyisms have become in the thoughts, as Ali has said earlier, and Grimm was speaking to as well. You know, he's kind of embedded in the psyche. It's like when people say, we've been here for 400 years. It's just not true. We haven't been here. That's something Elijah Muhammad made up, copying a biblical passage about the Israelites being strangers in a foreign land for 400 years, especially at the time that he wrote that. Our people weren't here nowhere near 400 years at that point. So, you know, we just follow a lot of that stuff. Honest KS for the contribution to the platform. So what have y'all heard that the red, black, and green flag represented through the years?
Cool. Well, I heard that the red stood for the blood of the people. The black was representative of the people, the so-called black people, and that the green represented the land. Now, that part was never clear. I guess the land of Africa is what the green, I'm assuming, is supposed to have represented. I don't know, right? That I'm not sure of. But I know that, you know, what I've always heard was that the green represented the land. Assuming they were talking about Africa.
So we have this reference, and brother, we got this from brother Ty Harper as well, because he speaks on this a lot, and it's actually something that I've heard a while ago.
Family, what they about to explain about this flag, when you see this red, black, and green flag, now we know it's bullshit anyway, but you will really never look at this flag the same. I mean, not only is it a nothing burger to FBAs, but it isn't even an African tribute flag. Family, this is a European tribute flag. I mean, literally, Marcus Garvey himself attributed this flag to Europeans. Listen.
But, you know, some things you forget, right? Because you haven't heard it in so long. So let's pull this up. Let's share this. Let me blow this up some so people could see it. So it says, in little more than 2 years between Garvey's arrival in the United States on March 24th, 1916, and July 2nd, 1918, the UNIA had been incorporated by the state of New York. His perception of race relations in the United States was shaped by his formative Caribbean experience. While Garvey would enter a new quote-unquote political phase, as Hill puts it, after July 1921, during the period 1918 through 1921, Garvey's propaganda demonstrated an immense sympathy with the Black American left and the labor movement. In 1920, he claimed that the color red in the UNIA flag showed their sympathy with the reds of the world. And the green, now let's peep this, family, peep this, and the green for the Irish.
Family, y'all not ready for this. Y'all not ready for this. All right, check this out.
Peep this, family, peep this. And the green for the Irish in their fight for freedom.
So the green wasn't about land like they make it to be. The red wasn't for blood. The red was for the red people of the world, and the green were specifically for the Irish struggle. This is the Freedman University Be the Power. So you know, I've been sharing their videos. Some things I fact check them. Everybody, you could fact check me. Everybody deserves to be fact checked. Nobody is, unfact checkable. So, I'm going to make sure that when I play their videos, I'm co-signing and stamping good information. I can't just play videos blindly just because they agree with me as far as the title, but their information might be flawed. So, I gotta, make sure they're good. But what they're saying right now is 100% fact. The green is for the Irish struggle. This is not even an African flag. It's a European flag. So no wonder why he met with the Klan. Listen.
So, and the green, now let's peep this, family. Peep this. And the green for the Irish in their fight for freedom. So the red and the green in Garvey's red, black, and green flag represents the reds of the world, not the blood of the Negro coursing through the veins of black bodies. The green doesn't, according to Garvey, represent the land of Africa, as many have proposed. So that was footnote 162, and it's highlighted where this particular source comes from. So let's blow that up as much as we can. Marcus Garvey to White, August 18th. So I'm guessing this was a letter. I'm guessing this is 1920.
I believe it was found in the philosophy and opinions of Marcus Garvey. And he's right. It's cited in the Hills, Marcus Garvey, and UNIA Papers, Volume 2. So that's what that's pointing to. So these brothers are right and exact on this. Family, the green stood for Irish, the Irish struggle, and the red stood for the reds of the world. What the hell is that? Where are the Africans and black in this, the Negroes?
In Hill, this citation throws me at the moment. So I believe that might be chapter 2, maybe verse 19 on page 603, if I'm reading that correctly. So everybody else can go and pull the source up as well to show that Garvey's red, black, and green flag represents black people, it represents Irish folks, and it represents the reds of the world,
What is that?
Garvey felt was being oppressed by the white man in the world. The idea of Garvey's flag came from this man right here, whose flag was yellow, black, and red. Yellow for the yellows of the world, yellow, brown, and black, excuse me. Brown for the brown people of the world, and black for the black people of the world. This man's name is Hubert Harrison. So I don't know if I want to go into Hubert Harrison just yet.
Yes, yeah, but Hubert Harrison didn't invent the flag and Garvey copied them. That's not really verified. Okay. Harrison used red, yellow, and black colors in writings or race unity before Garvey's flag existed. So that's true. So it's true that he used red, yellow, and black. Okay, but there's no record that Garvey took his flag concept from Harrison, and Harrison actually worked for the UNIA paper before breaking with Garvey. So it's possible Garvey was inspired by him, but there's no documentary proof or direct borrowing. So this Naeem got to be careful. He got to say he suspect, 'cause I am a responsible, honest YouTube journalist. I would tell you when I'm adding my 2 cents, and I would tell you when I'm reading historical accounts. So I would have said, I believe he got those colors from Hubert Harrison. But yeah, the green was for Irish people. And look, family, he did later. So I don't want you guys to go out there and debate a UNIA member and they say this to you. So Marcus Garvey did later say the red for blood and the black for black people and the green for land. He said that later. He first said the reds of the world, the green was for the Irish struggle. Okay. That's what he said first. All right. And then later, he was like, yo, you wildin'. See, but that's some tether shit, though. See, a Foundation Black America would have never did that. So a Foundation Black American said, yo, you can't do that, bro. You got to change that shit, man. The Irish struggle. I almost threw up when I heard that.
Yeah.
Well, let me show them.
Yeah, all right.
Let me show them real quick the piece that Grim was talking about so they could see it. I have it highlighted here.
Yeah, so even though that wasn't my research, it was their research initially, but it's my research to find the actual video. You feel me? So I'm out here, I'm still researching because I'm finding these videos and I'm looking through them and I'm vetting them before I play them to you guys. Oh yeah, I watched this, most of it. I ain't watch all of it, 3 hours, but I watched enough to feel like they did a good job. Okay, so, and as I'm listening to it, I will let you know if something's off. Like the Hubert Harrison flag thing, that's a possible that's possible, but it could be a coincidence. So, but it's no factual thing. And they have to say that. But the green was definitely for the white man. The white man struggles, and that's some shit the tethers would do. Put the white man before us. The white man struggle before our struggle. He's living in America. He see what we're going through, and he still had more in common with the Irish struggle over ours. Hilarious.
You see, the declared objects of the association are to establish a universal confraternity among the race, to promote the spirit of pride and love, to reclaim the fallen, to administer to and assist.
So Pombo is going to get worse because he took other sayings from the Irish. It looks like Garvey was really inspired by Irish people. We're not done with the Irish. And Garvey is going to get bad.
The needy, to assist in civilizing the backward tribes of Africa, to assist in the development of independent Negro nations and communities, etc. So just so you see that.
That's right. To assist in civilizing the backwards tribes of Africa. You see, you can't, in my opinion, you cannot have the love for your people. I heard this old story about Garvey as well. I haven't been able to confirm it, where Garvey says something to the effect of he wouldn't give a bum or a homeless person money on the streets because he felt that they should be able to rise above their conditions and do for themselves. I can't confirm this, but I heard that a few years ago. So we could, if that quote is true, then it aligns with what Garvey felt about our people. Going back to the first article that Ali pulled up, where he says the Negro, the fact is that the modern Negro is a lazy, good-for-nothing slumberer. So here in America, the modern Negro is a lazy, good-for-nothing slumberer.
Now look how you talk about us as opposed to the Irish. Embarrassing.
And in Africa, they're backwards savages. That doesn't sound like, a champion for our people. Just real quick, Arthur Ward said, Hubert Harrison is one of my favorite black atheists. I thought you was going to say one of my favorite black socialists, Brother Arthur Ward, but I'm going to let that atheist one slide for that.
But I just want to say, too, about what you all read about the red, black, and green flag. And I mean, all of this stuff is researchable. It's not secret. It's not arcane. The bottom line is that particularly with the Irish, and the Irish revolutionaries had a great effect or great influence on Marcus Garvey.
So Pombo, this is for you. The Irish had a great influence on Marcus Garvey. Listen closely. This is for Pombo.
And if you look up those Irish uprisings that took place in 1916 and the things that was going on with the Irish rebellion, you know, Garvey was an admirer. I can't think of all of the people names right now, the different Irishmen, but Garvey was and maybe some of that stuff I think that we probably dropped in the inbox. But Garvey was highly influenced by the Irish movement and the things that they had done. As a matter of fact, that terminology that they use, that Garvey was using Africa for the Africans at home and abroad, was actually taken from the Irish movement. That Ireland for the Irish at home and abroad. And I mean, all of this stuff is
That's right. That's
yeah,
right, bro.
all of this stuff is researchable. So, you know, as a matter of fact, one of the Irish leaders was supposed to. These were meetings that were set up between the leader of the Irish and Marcus Garvey that was supposed to take place. But I guess something had happened that the meeting never took place. But Garvey was supposed to actually meet with the Irish leader, so he was highly influenced by the things that the Irish was doing. So that goes to back up the fact that that green in that red, black, and green flag does not represent some land. I think somebody probably came up later and reinterpreted that flag.
Nah, nobody reinterpreted. Garvey came back later and changed the meaning, but that was family Pombo. That's for you, Pombo. That was a true quote by the Irish. They said Ireland for the Irish way before Garvey said Africa for the Africans. Okay? So they said that. They did say that. Now, I don't know if Garvey got that from them. Okay? I don't know. But it's plausible. So that's speculation. We don't know for sure.
But that flag is just the original intentions of it was just basically what we said it was, particularly that green in the red, black, and green flag was it for being in solidarity with the Irish movements. And yeah, I mean it's just plain as day. Just research that.
Somebody
stuff.
said that was a Robert Reed said red, black, and green sounds like a people of color movement. And you wonder why Black America has been stunted for 100 years. He then said what we concluded. This is the beginnings of all the hell blacks are facing now, trying to reverse this thinking.
That's right.
Hey, man, we can just start the show off now, man. You know,
come on.
You know,
because we came to that same conclusion the other day.
Show, man.
That's right.
Now,
That's
beat
right.
this.
He's 100% right.
Now, let me show you how crazy that was for him to even think that we should be in alignment with Irish people, right? We know that Irish people were not only used as overseers during the slave era, but they also owned slaves. These people became classified as white folks, and during the draft riots in New York, Irish people were attacking black people because they were classified as white at the time of the Civil War. The Union needed more men to fight in the military. So this is before they started to enlist the black soldiers or the colored troops. They started to try to draft white Irishmen from New York. And the Irish did not want to fight in the Civil War on behalf of the Union.
That's right.
Against the Southern Confederates over the issue of slavery. So you know what the Irish did? Because they wouldn't allow blacks to fight in the military and they started drafting the Irish in New York started to attack black people. Go look up the draft riots of 1863.
That's right. Talk to him, Ali.
And we can go back.
All right, so let me save some time because it's a long video, and so Irish immigrants were slave catchers, overseers, and they did lead the 1863 draft riots attacking blacks. That's a fact. The 1863 draft riots were largely led by Irish American mobs who lynched and burned black New Yorkers and an orphan asylum. They tried to burn down an orphan asylum. Irish participation as overseers and competitors in antebellum labor markets is well documented. Okay, so let's go further because they're going to basically say that, right? So let's get to some more tea.
They were working within the UNIA at a certain point. They also had ultimately wound up having a problem with Garvey as well, based on some of Garvey's problematic statements, right? See, we're not making this stuff up. And it's not, and to Kari's other point, initially he was saying it was an ADOS thing, but now he's acknowledging that other Caribbean people also had a problem with this man and found a lot of the stuff he was saying and doing problematic as well. So the brothers of the African Blood Brotherhood, the ones I just mentioned, they wound up having a problem with him as well because of his meeting and affiliation with the Ku Klux Klan in 1921. You understand those statements that he made with them, you know, about black people and his relationship with them and stuff.
Now, before they go further, now I didn't know about the Irish attacking black people in New York, 1863. That was news to me. Like, wow, you know. But anyway, that's good information.
So they wind up having a problem with him as well, right?
That's
the failure of his Black Star Line company. And
thank you for the super chat. Let me get your name correctly. Hold on, because I can't see it until I do this. My life been exchanged for yours, FBA. Salute to you. $5 super chat. He said we don't have no friends. That's a fact. Shit. Yeah, get your popcorn, family. This is crazy. So now he's going to talk about Garvey and the Klan, which, you know, I had brought out, but they're going to add a little more to it.
Looking to the Ku Klux Klan to help finance the Black Star Line and get it back going. No, so a lot of these people had problems, and it wasn't just Caribbean people. So that, you know, that's just not the truth, you know. And we're not looking at it from no one single perspective. We're just dealing with the truth of what this man was saying and doing, and how it was problematic, not just for African Americans,
so hold on.
but also Caribbeans that were here too.
But Logic, before you go in, let me pull this up. The brother Joel Armstrong has been having a problem with everything that we read. So he wants us to retract stuff until he can find it. You should already know everything about Marcus Garvey because it seems like you have a deep reverence for this man. So you obviously didn't do good enough research prior to tonight's live stream, or else you would know what the critiques and criticisms.
Right, none of them do. They all romanticize. That's why we know this stuff. It's crazy.
Of Marcus Garvey was, you would know his own words. We're giving references. We're not retracting anything. That sounds absolutely crazy.
Well, no, listen.
Well, let me just throw this in there real quick, Ali, and I'll give it right back to you. So this really speaks. I'm glad we got to keep echoing where the disconnect lies at while we go through this tonight, so it's not lost, right? How does Marcus Garvey think that, see, a freedman wouldn't make this mistake, right? Why would you think that it's a clever idea to cozy up to the Ku Klux Klan, right? Knowing their history in America and how our people been.
That was my argument. Tay said it was a movie called Gangs of New York, maybe around that time. Got to research that. Yeah, they actually referenced that too. So that's a good catch, Taya.
Battling groups the Ku Klux Klan and the right? How does Marcus Garvey think that, see, a freedman wouldn't make this mistake, right? Why would you think that it's a clever idea to cozy up to the Ku Klux Klan, right? Knowing their history in America and how our people been battling groups
Come
like the
on.
Ku Klux
Exactly.
Klan and the Bushwhackers and the Midnight Marauders and the Red Shirts and the Rifleman Club. Like we've been
Chameleon
actually
League, the
having
White
White
wars,
League.
League. That's right.
wars fighting these people. Blood has been shed. And you think it's a good idea. See, that's a man who's disconnected from that. He doesn't have any ancestors that was hung by the Ku Klux Klan, or else he wouldn't have his ass up there doing business with them. He didn't have any uncles and cousins and aunts and grandmothers that was raped by Ku Klux Klan members and groups of the like. That's how you get there. There's a disconnect. So when you come from somewhere else, you do shit like say, let me work with the Irish who ain't never been our friends in America, right? And show them reverence. There must be the way. Let me partner with them. No, let's partner with the Ku Klux Klan whose whole entire outfit is stained with our ancestors' blood. There is a disconnect. That's how you know. That's not one of us. Anybody who has
Did
come in the
we
history
pull
of
up the
freedmen
pro
has,
Jim Crow statements yet?
No, not
I
yet.
don't know.
You muted, Ali. So,
my bad.
Yeah, go
I'm
ahead.
gonna
Go
look
ahead.
for it now.
Ali, you want to pull this screen up?
Which one? I don't even know what I have up. What I have? Oh yeah. The Garvey Must Go campaign.
Wait, hold on. Grim, is
Yeah,
this
yeah.
the one you talking about with the pro Jim Crow statements?
This one has something in it.
Okay,
It definitely
all right.
has something in it.
Okay, let's go. Wait, hold on. To Marcus Gracie, you might have to go back to the beginning. You're spamming right now. All we do is sources. We're pulling up sources. We're pulling up quotations with the citations that they're derived from. Chill, fam. Pay attention, or just wait till the stream is over and go back and watch it from the beginning. But all we're doing is sources. Go ahead, brother Ali.
All right, so this here, just let me move it back so he can see where this is coming from. This is an article about the Garvey Must Go campaign that was done in PBS, for PBS, right? Public Broadcasting System, service, whatever. I'm just going to read a part of it, right? About this Garvey Must Go campaign that wound up taking effect and ultimately, I guess, helped to lead to his deportation. When Marcus Garvey first arrived in the United States in 1916, he quickly found his way to many of New York's most prominent Black radical activists and intellectuals, and at least briefly, Garvey enjoyed their support. But by 1920, A. Philip Randolph and other Black leaders, some of whom had supported Garvey after his arrival in the United States, came to believe that Garvey's program for Black advancement was unsound and that Garvey himself was a charlatan. Though they admired his skill as a propagandist, these prominent Black
family, they called Marcus Garvey a charlatan in Marcus Garvey's time. Okay, they called him out. That's what FBAs do. We don't wait till you get deported and talk about you or call you out. They called him out immediately, and you heard the name A. Philip Randolph.
critics derided Garvey's proposed solutions for the problems of African Americans. They believed that his plans for Black progress, including the Black Star Line and the establishment of a Pan-African empire, were unrealistic and ill-advised. They considered the Universal Negro Improvement Association's grandiose titles and military regalia to be preposterous, and they thought Garvey, with his assumption of a regal posture under the title Provisional President of Africa, to be little more than a self-aggrandizing buffoon. A. Philip Randolph, who had introduced Garvey to his first American audience on a Harlem street corner, said Garvey had succeeded in making the Negro the laughingstock of the world. The federal investigations into the finances of Black Star Line, along with a blistering analysis of the shipping line by W.E.B. Du Bois in the NAACP's Crisis magazine, gave fuel to Garvey's Black critics. Randolph personally critiqued the economic feasibility of the Black Star Line in The Messenger, an influential magazine he co-edited with Chandler Owen, and accused Garvey of squandering the hard-earned money of his hardworking, poor supporters. Black opposition to Garvey coalesced into what came to be known as the Garvey Must Go campaign. Supporters of the campaign, known collectively as the Friends of Negro Freedom, intended to unmask Garvey as a fraud before his Black supporters. They also appealed to the federal government to step up investigations of irregularities in the Black Star Line and to look into alleged acts of violence on the part of Garvey's inner circle. The Garvey Must Go campaign gained momentum after Garvey held a secret meeting with Edward Young Clark, the leader of the Ku Klux Klan, in June of 1922.
Family, the dude met with the Klan. And what are we doing? The Klan is responsible for destroying Black Reconstruction. The Klan is responsible for all type of race riots, burning our cities, and ultimately destroying the Black Wall Streets. Why would we ever link up with them? Blowing up churches, Black girls in there, undermining all type of shit, voter suppression. Just a negative, bloody history with us. Why would we ever meet with them? There's nothing to talk about. That's our sworn-born op because of what they started. And this guy did a secret meeting. Okay, it wasn't like he did it in public. Like, man, the hell with y'all. He did it secretly, so he knew it was a shameful thing.
Immediately afterward, Randall and Owens' Messenger magazine published an article entitled "Marcus Garvey, the Black Imperial Wizard, becomes messenger boy of the white Ku Klux Klan."
They got
Black
an Irish
leaders
town
were
in
further
Jamaica.
infuriated when they learned that Garvey, at a speaking engagement in New Orleans, remarked that because Black people had not built the railroad system, they should not insist on riding in the same cars with white patrons.
We got
Family, you heard that? Marcus Garvey said that we should not insist on riding in the railroad, trains on railroad tracks because we didn't build them. Look what Garvey said about us.
Speaking engagement in New Orleans, remarked that because Black people, when they learned that Garvey, at a speaking engagement in New Orleans, remarked that because Black people had not built the railroad system, they should not insist on riding in the same cars with white patrons.
We got the quotes too. We found the quotes to all of that stuff.
Right, the actual quotes. So let me let me just read this paragraph and then I'll stop. The messenger vowed to begin a rigorous editorial campaign against Garvey and promised to fire the opening gun in a campaign to drive Garvey and Garveyism in all its sinister viciousness from the American soil. The campaign from this point was characterized by vitriolic personal attacks on both sides and by escalating threats of violence. Garvey Must Go meetings were violently.
Garvey Must Go meetings. Family, we need a Tether Must Go meeting. Tether Must Go campaign.
Dispersed by Garvey's followers. A. Philip Randolph
like they doing in the chat. My bad. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's all good. We ain't going nowhere. Ain't nobody running us nowhere.
King Tether.
A. Philip Randolph received the severed hand of a white man in the mail. It was, you see, it was accompanied by a note signed by the KKK, but Randolph believed the hand had been sent by the UNIA. I'm gonna stop sharing that because I'm gonna find too, and y'all could go in from there if y'all want to talk about that a little. I'm gonna find the actual news article where that was at and the quote that he made. Go ahead, bro.
I just want to say that the most interesting thing about that, right, and how it compares to what is continuously going on, and obviously was kind of like what's launched this whole type of thing to happen here, right? And what I'm talking about is in that article, you talked about how Philip Randolph introduced Garvey to his first American audience, Freedman audience, yes, right? And so instead of Garvey, right, he meets A. Philip Randolph, who's already engaged in freedman justice work, right? But we already got.
This is my argument. Marcus Garvey ain't want anything to do with those activists, those FBA activists at the time. He didn't want anything to do with them. And like you said, A. Philip Randolph gave Marcus Garvey his first audience, and he didn't repay him back at all. He wanted nothing to do with our educated at that time.
An agenda. We instead of Garvey, right? He meets A. Philip Randolph, who's already engaged in freedman justice work, right? But we already got an agenda. We've been here. We know what we're supposed to do. Here comes a man who ain't been here but a couple months, and now he's taking over the movement. Look at that. taking over the freedmen. What kind of arrogance and disrespect is that to the freedmen? And see, they continuously do us
I've been
like that.
saying
That's
that.
why they come here now and feel comfortable talking about our reparations, talking about everything that ain't got nothing to do with them. That's the same thing Garvey did when he came over here. And just instead
Yeah.
of joining the brothers and the freedmen saying, how can I help y'all brothers? How can I assist? And how can I get behind you brothers? No, y'all get out the way. Y'all don't know what y'all need to do for yourselves. I know what needs to be done. That is ultimately disrespectful. And what and the get Garvey out campaign needs to not, it was needed then,
And it's
it's needed
needed now.
now.
Talk to him.
The only difference is instead of getting Garvey out of the country, you need to get him out of your mind. His
That's right.
philosophies and their opinions have been crippling to the freedmen justice plight.
That's
and
right.
let me say something, because
Go ahead,
somebody
bro.
brought up something in the chat, and I brought up the triad, and I call them the triad. Marcus Garvey. Marcus Garvey gave birth to Drew Ali, so to speak. Drew Ali gave birth to Elijah Muhammad. And we talk about the three sources of mission drift because those three men are chiefly responsible for basically a philosophy that a lot of our people hold on to in regards to the mission of the freedmen, and this, a lot of bootstrapperism, I mean, a whole lot of different things. We talk about them all the time, brothers. But I just want to talk about the triad, because we talking about the fact that Marcus Garvey met with the Ku Klux Klan, right? And the triad, everybody in the triad of Garvey, Drew Ali, and Elijah Muhammad all had some shape, form, or fashion of some type of relationship with the Ku Klux Klan. Y'all just read the Garvey Must Go campaign, which a lot of the freedmen leaders of our leaders at that time was upset with Garvey because he met with the Klan and was leading in that direction. So we also have a statement by Noble Drew Ali that was basically pro-Klan. And Naheem probably can quote it word for word, but Noble Drew Ali said, when I go to the South, I'm going to meet the Ku Klux Klan. But what he said, what he said, but they're going to take me to where I need to go.
The oral saying says that I am doing the South. When I get there, it is going to appear as if the Klan is going to stop me. Then they are going to lead me where I am going.
Yeah, family. I don't know what it was. Noble Drew Ali, Elijah Muhammad, Marcus Garvey. These were, again, you could say the first conservatives of color and shit.
Right. So here you got a pro Ku Klux Klan statement from Garvey Garvey meeting them. We got Noble Drew Ali with the pro Klan statement, and we already discussed on previous shows Noble Drew Ali's pro Jim Crow, pro Confederate statements. And then we also have the philosophy and the teachings of Elijah Muhammad that are in accord with Garvey as far as separation and anti-Americanism and also with them, via Malcolm X. I'm not, but I'm sure it was sanctioned by Elijah Muhammad, or I should just say the Nation of Islam also met with the Ku Klux Klan. So,
Facts.
we got the triad, and what they all got in common, that in some shape, form, or fashion, they were either pro-Jim Crow esoterically, or they had met with the Klan.
Ooh,
That's a fact.
ain't that how you do, Grim? Ooh.
That's a
Hey, yo. And see, like, I think the brother said, hold on, let me read his comment. How
It's a
can you
bunch of
argue?
crazy
Yeah, it's a bunch of them. He said, how can you argue Garvey's Caribbeanness to be a weakness while championing Harrison, the Caribbean immigrant. Well, that's a false statement. Like,
That's
nobody
right.
was arguing his Caribbeanness as his
That's right.
weakness. What we're talking about is
And
him being.
nobody championed Hubert Harrison. The only champions are the freedmen.
That's
Hubert
a fact.
Harrison was Abba
What
said
he's-
that is an ally.
That's
Right.
right.
He pointed out, he was pointing out that he was an ally and knew how to play his position.
That's
That's
right.
what he was saying.
Yeah.
It didn't say anything about him being a Caribbean. He said that this particular Caribbean knew how to play
That's
his
right.
position when the
They
other
not
Caribbean
listening.
did not.
Here's one. Let's address this.
Yeah,
real quick.
I've seen that one.
Baruti Katimbo says BTP seems xenophobic against blacks from other countries. What you said, Logic. So there are lots of.
Wait, hold
on. Let me read it, Grim. There are lots of African Americans that support Garvey. So again, on balance, you should have a scholarly African American who supports Garveyism. We don't mind having anybody up here that supports Garveyism, scholarly or not. You're not going to get around the facts that are being presented here tonight, and that a lot of what Garvey said leaned pro-Confederate. He met with the Klan.
Hold on.
Go ahead.
I'm saying that she's saying that we need to have somebody like that on this program right now. That's what she's saying.
Yeah. He or she.
But what difference does it make? It doesn't even make no difference.
Yeah, and it doesn't. Not only does it not make a difference, but it's not. Nobody like that's a part of tonight's program. You don't come into class and tell the
Super chat again. Thank you. Second super chat. Really appreciate the lineage love. This is my life been exchanged for yours, FBA. Appreciate the love. He said, I wish I had a time machine. Our answers was too nice, but I'm not. Yeah, I'm not nice at all. I'm not nice at all. At all. Shit. Why not do that? Okay.
teacher, you should have such and such in here teaching with you. That ain't how nothing works. If you don't like this education, if it's too potent for you to handle it, go to another channel. We are given nothing but the facts every night, all night, whenever BTP is on live.
Man,
you can't handle the truth.
Ain't nobody no xenophobe, man.
But Graham, listen. They want to use that as a card that they can play.
I realize that. I recognize that. But man, look, the bottom line, ain't nobody no xenophobe.
I
but
am.
The bottom
Logic
line,
is.
But hold on. But the bottom line is that the facts are basically being pointed out in regard to these things, because Garvey, number one, didn't understand our relationship with the Irish from before the slave trade through the slave antebellum slave period, all the way to his time. He didn't understand that. He just knew he admired those people and those missions and their mission that they had going on in their land. He didn't understand our relationships with the Ku Klux Klan. So I mean, we can't go over there. But let me say this, man, about this universal blackness, man.
That's right.
I get it. And we know that there is an aspect of the mission where universal blackness does and can come into play. We're not saying that is not the case. But what we're saying is that this particular Caribbean man was out of order and out of place, and he was dealing in the affairs that he had no business dealing with, as far as leading the freedmen away from the mission. The mission was set. The mission was already set by our father, Frederick Douglass. You follow what I'm saying? The father of the nation. We just had to keep moving on and pressing into that direction. But yet you had a contingency of people who spent their hard-earned money on a man who bought some raggedy ships that wasn't even seaworthy to make a trip to Africa.
That's right.
We talking about a man who kept saying back to Africa, whose ships failed. You understand what I'm saying? Whose ships failed, who basically, well, we can get into this if y'all want, brothers. He basically was convicted of the crime, and he was exiled from the country. You could say he was set up and things of that nature. That's
And he was guilty.
But right, but basically he was sent to Jamaica, right?
Come on.
Exiled to Jamaica.
That's right.
Lived in Jamaica, right? Then he had hard financial times. He took the rest of his wife's savings and inheritance, and then squandered that in Jamaica, right? And after that, and all of his ventures in Jamaica being unsuccessful, this man then got on a boat and then went and moved to England. And then he started getting mixed up in the affairs of the English black people, right? And lived the rest of his life in England, getting mixed up in the affairs of the black Englishmen. And then on top of that, we talk about a man, and listen to this. We talk about a man who could have, but never ever set foot in Africa after teaching a back to Africa.
Bro, I would ask the brother Kari, I don't know if I'm saying his name right. Why didn't Garvey go to Liberia? Why did Garvey never go to Liberia? I know why he didn't go to Liberia, but I would like for Kari to tell me why Garvey never went to Liberia.
We could send a link if y'all want. We could.
In one of his fiercest, and I just want to continue and say, one of his fiercest critics, W.E.B. Du Bois, he even went after a while and moved and lived in Africa.
That's right.
And he was a critic of Garvey.
That's right.
And he moved to Africa and lived in Africa. But we had the greatest proponents of this Pan-Africanism, back to Africa ideology, and he never stepped foot on the continent. Not one. Not a toe in the water.
Nope. The triad that Grimm talked about, they all had that in common, and what they all had is a major hand in aggregating blackness, right? We were specific after the Civil War. We were the freedmen. We knew who he was. Then they come with this, we the lost tribe of Shabazz nonsense. Everybody's Moroccan and Moorish American. See, getting further and further off the path. Garvey, everybody's an African. Africa for the Africans. We stopped being Africans a long time ago. We freedmen.
When they kicked our ancestors off that continent, that's when we stopped being that shit.
And we knew it. And we knew it. We knew who he was. And we were doing all kind of miraculous work. They called in 7 years. Hold up. If we read one stat, they said that in 1 year of the freedmen being emancipated, we had made 100 years of progress, right? And once these other foreign influencers come and these foreign ideas from people from not rooted in our work come here, we get further and further away from the mission, further and further away from liberty, further and further away from justice, right? Further and further away from who we are as a people in America, as Americans. They took us off of that and took us out to lunch, man.
This is coming from the book Mercer Baradaran's The Color of Money. It says they set up charities to take care of the poor and sick and to educate each other. Quote, "We have progressed a century in a year," said one freedman. So, just to, add some sources to what Brother Logic is saying. Brother Josh just jumped in. Brother Josh, what are your thoughts on tonight's topic?
Man, we've been talking about this one for a while. So to do the broadcast is good to see y'all on here. It's good to have the conversation. And I think you said it was you or Ali or I can't remember who made the point of, that when he said the triad, if you notice one thing that that they had in common is that there seemed to be some type of cozying up to the Ku Klux Klan, or you know, and I see that in the same way Logic said that we need to get that out of our minds. We need to get like that type of thinking out of our minds. Yeah, it's because what we see is eventually it's going to lead towards some type of affection and affinity to, I don't know, it's weird how this works out, right? To the neo-Confederates. Because that's what I see people, a lot of people in the Moorish movement, they have some type of, because of that's the
That's
viewpoint
right.
that Drew Ali held, was he, you know, blaming us for things that, blaming us for the position that we're in. Like we did everything to put ourselves in that position. You hear some of the statements that Garvey held, it seemed like, I mean, he might have had some viewpoints that he shared with the Ku Klux Klan from, you know, from what he was saying. So I see that we did a program, like, I don't know if it was last year or several months ago, called White Supremacy Creeping into Conscious Black Spaces, something like that. And I see a lot of that. You know, I just got to call it for what it is right now. I see a lot of the anti-vax stuff also. I see a lot of, I seen one image that was shared on social media. It said like colored this way, and then right underneath that in black and white in the same, like it was from the same time period of the Jim Crow era, says unvaxxed this way. You know what I mean? And I looked at who was sharing it, and it was some you know, white anti-vaccine vaccine.
The article
I was talking about now.
And getting etc. joints, sharing. It's the Garvey mindset that people
say. A partner of mine who libertarian, right? Libertarian style of thinking. He was telling me how their strategy was in terms of getting people from various sides of, on the right and on the left, to win them into their way of thinking or to sympathize with them, right? So they said, what we'll do is we'll outright the right and we'll out left the left, right? So what they do to the left is they'll talk about how you're doing so terrible with this criminalization of the drug laws. You need to decriminalize drugs. And so if you're a person that most people looked at as like a right-wing, you know, person, and then you're the most right-wing of right-wing, but then you're out lefting the left by, you know, your position on criminalization is, oh, we need to decriminalize, you know, then man, some of those people might develop some affinity for that, and they'll run with you and echo your message. And then you'll go turn around and go on the right and saying, well, you know, why are you for these taxes here, or why are you for that? I can't think of a specific policy, but they that's their strategy. They outright the right and out left the left. And then you find yourself being in alignment with their messaging, not understanding like that most of these people are definitely not for your uplift and reparations. And a lot of them will share neo-Confederate sentiments along with their policy and their ideology of just leave you to starve, you know, and let the big dog eat.
Indeed. So Ali has an article he wants to pull up. Logic. You was about to say something?
Yeah, but go let Ali go.
All right.
All right, so this is from the New York Times, right? This is an article regarding Garvey's death. And this was printed, hold on, let me just see. Let me just see when this was. Go back. New York Times, what was this? Hold on, let me do this. And I'm gonna go back into it because I want to read. Y'all know when Garvey died, man. Anyway, this is from when he died, Joe. And this was a New York Times article. We could put the link in for, you know, people who don't believe it's real or whatever. But anyway, let me read about Garvey not going to Africa, particularly Liberia. Right in the middle of this page, you can see where it says, where Father Divine of a later day created angels and archangels among the colored population of Harlem, Garvey in his time sprinkled the area with princes and princesses, barons, knights, viscounts, earls, and dukes, and kept for himself a time the comparatively humble designation of Sir, Provisional President of Africa. There was no evidence that he had ever set foot on that continent, and the Republic of Liberia was, by announcement of his government, closed to him and his followers. He blamed the British and so Liberia didn't want him or his followers to even come over there, according to an announcement by his government, the government. Yeah.
You don't never hear him talk about that. Come on.
This is what we do here at BTP, family.
And think about this. In accordance to what Ali just read, you know what I'm saying? The Constitution, man, you got to be doing something wrong when you can't get to Liberia, because the Constitution of Liberia allows for people of the Negro race to become citizens, particularly, you know, those in America that can come there. That's all you have to do there is stay there for a specific period of time, and you can become a Liberian citizen, you know, just by virtue of race. So for them to do that to Garvey, them must show that they had some kind of serious trouble or problematic issue with Garvey and his works, man.
Let me say something to Doc Phyllis, because he asked an amazing question.
Yeah,
he first says, what is Liberia? And yes, Josh, he set it up real nice. He says, what is Liberia, and were they free of colonists? Hell no, they wasn't free. None of them people over there was free. And that's what makes this whole goddamn thing even crazier.
Come on.
Damn near all of them countries were still under colonization while this man was talking about going back to Africa. What kind of fucking sense does that make?
Yo, he wanted us to go back to Africa so we could get exterminated by Leopold. You know
Come on, man. What?
The Hitler of the Congo.
Yeah,
he was worse than Hitler.
But see, because we have romanticized the man, y'all can't even sit back and really digest these failures and the impact it has had on the freedmen people, right? And anything that, like, it's a foreign concept that he comes and infiltrates our political atmosphere with, right? We were focused, and people are coming from outside of our group and having us deviate off the path. I got to keep reiterating that disconnect. I got to keep reiterating that. We are all we have. And they didn't want him coming up over there because he going to try to take over their shit next. All the man do, he don't got no respect. You seen that, how Philip Randolph introduced him to his crowd, being a nice, good freedman. Hey, brother, come on, let me show you some people that might want to hear what you got to say. Put you on, and instead of saying, thank you, brother, how can I help the freedmen? You try to take everybody back to Africa. That's crazy. That's crazy.
Back to a colonized place.
But it's so funny. Ali, I want you to go in, but I pulled this comment up, powerful facts. But who is that in the image right there?
That's another mission drift.
Another mission drift immigrant.
Another mission drift provocateur. Instead of siding with the freedman, and he's not a freedman, instead of siding with the great Dr. King, who was the second king of the freedmen after Frederick Douglass, he come try to split the movement. And what do they all do again? They all represent aggregating the blackness, because they're specific. That's what he do. Black power. Instead of doing civil rights justice work with Dr. King and all them geniuses over there, black power, and start talking about and Dr. King really undressed that man. And where do we go from here? You don't got no program. You don't have no idea where you're trying to take the people. You just doing a whole bunch of inflammatory rhetoric, getting the people all riled up, and you don't even know what you're doing. You don't even know what you're doing because you haven't set up underneath the freedmen long enough. And instead of being our support, you want to be out in front, and you're not even connected to this thing in the right way. They all represent that.
That's a fact. Ali, I didn't mean to cut you, bro. I just wanted to, it was so funny that I pulled that comment up, and that was the image. He has, you know, Stokely Carmichael, you know what I'm saying? It's like,
yeah, I didn't even see it. I missed it, man. I was zoned out, man. But
look, let me say, family, all of these people represented mission drift. Our freedmen ancestors got it more right than they got it wrong.
And talk about how Hubert Harrison said Garvey inflated his numbers, because people think Garvey's movement. Hubert Harrison said that dude's didn't have the amount of followers that he made everybody think he had.
That's right. That's right. I mean, Hubert Harrison was there with Garvey. He really undressed that man in his critiques. I read one of the critiques earlier from out of the book. I'm hoping to get the author. What's this guy's name? Perry is his last name. Jeffrey B. Perry.
Yeah.
He's a great historian, and I was hoping to get him on the platform one day so we could actually talk about whiteness as a racial construct and how it led up to him even producing books on Hubert Harrison, because you got to understand the difference between race and class, and you got to understand what the Democrats, the left wing of media, have been doing to us, the Foxes, right? Smiling in our faces and then getting us in the Fox, whatever it's called, den, and then chewing us the pieces, right? And then doing that to us every single generation. So, you know, we wanted to come on here and give, it's so much that we didn't even hit on yet. It's so much that we didn't hit on as of yet. And nobody can't deny the fact that we are victims of mission drift. I know that it's hard. I've been following Noble Drew Ali for the last 10 years. I've been the chief champion, but after a while, doing my own research, battling with my brothers in debates where we've had over the past year, maybe really the past 2 years, it's like you can't deny the facts if that's what you're trying to stand on. You can stand on falsehoods, sure, but these people came and took us off the path. Even though the ones that were political, like Father Divine, it was so much other mystical nonsense to him that once he left, his movement faltered, and the people didn't know how to stand on their own 2 feet because he told them that he was God that manifested on earth. Where did he manifest that, Ali?
Yo, this man, Father Divine, said he was never actually born. He said he manifested on 135th Street in Lenox Avenue. You heard?
Man, that's crazy.
So look, Kwame Ture was a true advocate for Black power. He was a Pan-Africanist and surely meant all blacks well. As I said before, BTP are xenophobe, but you probably don't realize it. Nativism produces this. Brother Logic, please address that.
Yes. And I don't be upset with old Logic after you say what he got to say. But I got to keep it real, right? And what you got to understand, see, that's what they try to do. First of all, we are natives. You can call it nativism, you can call it what you want, but you're trying to turn something positive into negative, and that's a trait that we're exposing tonight that has historically always been there with people like you. You come and take things that are always have been positive for us and make them negative. There ain't nothing wrong with being a nativist. We are native Black Americans.
We're
native to this country. We're the freedmen. We're the reason why you're here.
That's right.
You understand? And that you can do the things that you do. You can't shame Logic with that. And you can't come on here talking about, oh, xenophobic, because Logic don't care about none of that. I'm terrified of anything that does not contribute to the furthering the prosperity and the longevity of the freedman lineage in America. Anything that impacts that in a negative way, I'm terrified. Yes, why wouldn't I fear something that is compromising my prosperity and existence? You understand? I'm terrified of it. I have to address it. I have to look at it. Then just because that makes you uncomfortable, don't change the reality of that for me, because that is, and when you use the word xenophobic, that's white supremacy. You understand? White folks made up them type of words. You understand? Because they fear the same thing. Anything that impacts their power position negatively. You understand? Anything that impacts their existence negatively. And so you want a white supremacist, the freedman, and come and try to turn everything that we do positive into something negative, and then take over whatever we do have. Kwame Ture was wrong. Stokely Carmichael was out of pocket. And yes, it's absolutely because he's not native to here. That's the disconnect that leads him to not understanding that he's being disrespectful in the first place. If you don't know a meeting with the Ku Klux Klan is disrespectful because you don't have no family members that hung by their ropes and flesh was set on fire by their torches. Yes, it's a native
who had their
thing.
land stolen from them.
You understand? Your ancestors weren't raped by these people. You understand? So yes, it's a native thing. And we are proud natives of America. You understand? We've been fighting this good fight in this war since America was born. And you want to come over here and try to tell us how to talk about our story, how to fight for our justice, and just impose your way. You're an interloper. You understand?
That's right.
You are an interloper.
Go ahead,
Go
bro.
ahead.
No, go ahead, Ali.
It's like I said in that other video, the one that's circulating a little bit. The one thing you never find is African Americans going to Haiti, telling Haiti.
Again, in the super chat, Lineage Love, my life been exchanged for yours. FBA, all day. He said F Garvey. I'm Malcolm X all day. $5 super chat. The Lineage Love is real. I appreciate it. Yeah, man. Garvey's officially retired. And so we ain't gonna let no African try to resurrect him. He's done. It's RIP. You're out of here. And it's gonna get worse. They still cooking. But I appreciate the love though, man. Thank you.
Haitians how to do their shit, trying to teach Haitians about their Haitian history. You don't see African Americans all up in the affairs of Jamaica. You don't see African Americans all up in the affairs of Trinidad and Tobago or none of that shit like that. That's something you don't never see us doing, right? Everybody thinks that for some reason that they have the right to come here and inject themselves into our affairs, and not just doing that as an ally, but now I'm going to take over and I'm going to tell y'all what y'all are supposed to be doing with your shit. That's unprecedented, except for white people. The only people that do that kind of shit is white folks.
Yes.
We African Americans don't go to nobody's fucking country trying to tell them what to do with their shit. Everybody think they can come and do that with us though. And it ain't just black immigrants, it's Hispanic immigrants, it's white, all kind Asian immigrants. Everybody thinks that they can tell African Americans specifically how to do their business here, even though
Kyrie dude
African-Americans
just got blocked. My bad, Ali. I just blocked that Kyrie dude.
Why?
Because he said Logic is an agent. He got to go. Don't now you can't come back to the channel.
Kyrie, why you do that, man?
Thank you.
I didn't want Kyrie to get. I didn't want him to get blocked because I wanted to keep addressing that stuff. But I get it. I get it.
But guess who was an agent? Garvey's best friend, who was his captain of his Black Star line.
That's right.
And that's who was an agent. You nigga, not Logic. Get the fuck out of here, man. I'm out, man. These people crazy.
Oh man. Yeah. I just gotta say, man, look, like this is America and we're the freedmen, we're native Black Americans. So like Brother Lodge said, we gotta think about what is going to impact us in a positive or negative way. And our focus is not to, like, if you are in a swimming, you got to think about this thing, right? If you're in the swimming pool and you're drowning, like you're on the bottom of the pool, right? You got few breaths left before you or whatever the case may be. you need to get yourself to the top of the pool. You need to get some air. You know what I'm saying? You need to get yourself out of the pool. How do you have time to save somebody at the bottom of another pool in another city? You know, you don't. So why?
Okay, so my life been exchanged for yours, FBA. Yo, I didn't even know this was your first time here. Like you sent 3 super chats, and I'm thinking like you were a regular until I just seen your name just now, and you didn't have a wrench. So I gave you your lineage wrench, made you a moderator. Appreciate you, and welcome to the family. Welcome to your lineage.
Why is it that? And how could that's like you going underwater? You're going under the water, and you're holding up a sign that says, you know, you're selfish. You're just thinking about you're divisive. You're xenophobic. No, just come like work to help us get up from under at the bottom of the pool, and then when we can figure out how we can go and help some people across town in another city or country at the bottom of a pool. Like that's what you got to understand.
Well, Josh,
we are at the bottom of the bottom, and you want us to fight an enemy or fight in systems, defeat systems.
Let me ask you, Josh.
We can't even beat the United States.
Look. Let me ask you, right?
Yeah, it's pretty much what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said in his book. He said, Africa. He said, why would we go help Africa? He said, are they an independent nation or we are? And then he was like, yo, nah. He said, if anything, we need help. We're in the belly of the beast. We're living with these devils. He said, they should be helping us. He said, we need to focus on ourselves first in America. Then we can possibly help somebody else out. But the help starts with you, family. It starts with you. So you got a lot of people in America who every day say, I'm going to help this person out, whether they homeless, whatever. But the people who say that are usually the people that need help themselves. Say, nah, self-help is first.
How would things have differed if it was a freedman administration in regards to those Haitians at the border? Do you think that we would have had racist devils on horseback whipping Haitians at the border and deporting them back to Haiti, and not the illegal immigrants? What are your thoughts on that?
Come on, man. You already know that. No, sir.
That's right. So these people, they're bugged out. They don't understand the importance of what we're doing here politically and why we can't focus on Pan-Africanism in the way that they want us to, because it's more mission drift. It takes us away from the mission. That guy Logic debated Omar Wali Africa. This guy we got the videos and the audios of him saying that we should never vote. It's in his blogs. Why we should never vote. This dude is an American citizen who he claims he's a freedman descent, but I mean neither. I didn't believe it neither, right? So, I'm about to say what the hell happened. We got 2 Grims on the screen. So, you know, these people are bugged out, man. These people, they don't understand what we're trying to do and why what we're doing is so important. They're trying to ideologically stretch us thin. Go ahead, bro.
This is an example. What's going on with the Haitians at the border is an example of why they need to team with those people when they come here, not just Haitians, all of them. When they come here, they should be teaming up with us and falling in line, because we the ones that understand this shit. We went through this already. All that shit y'all seen them doing to them Haitians, we went through that. Our ancestors went through that and worse.
Right.
Went through that and worse. So they should be falling in line with us instead of coming here trying to be adversarial and thinking you teaching us shit, because you're not teaching us nothing. Let's just be real clear. You can suggest all the fucking books you want, because I keep seeing niggas always, you need to read about this guy, read about that. I don't give a fuck. It doesn't change nothing. It doesn't change nothing. Reading a book that you suggest to me to read ain't going to change the facts of my history with my people in this country. I don't give a fuck what book you're telling me to read. Doesn't change nothing.
Right.
Doesn't change nothing. And you can't use that, because they always want to use that to try to seem like you know, we're intellectually above. You're not intellectually above shit, because if you was that intellectual, you would have used all of that intellect to fix that shithole country that you came from. All right, you don't gotta be here teaching me a goddamn thing. Let me go through my shit. You go back home, go through your shit. You ain't gotta come here trying to teach me a damn thing.
Yeah, and let me say this too, right? When we think about what, like, the impact of, let's say, more immigrants coming across the border, like those people, I mean, it's interesting. They're cracking down on the Haitians coming in. Meanwhile, they bring in Afghanis over on airplanes.
And real, I'm gonna let you finish, Josh. Remember,
you know where I'm
what I
going.
brought up the other night with Sister Kelly, where she posted that bill that the Congressional Black Caucus signed for undocumented workers right here in the United States, and yet they're kicking out the blacks who are Haitian though. Go ahead, bro. Finish your point.
And if you look at it, if you look at the states that was some of the first people that signed up for them Afghanis to come in was like Kemp.
That's
you know,
right.
He was running to get some Afghanis in Georgia. And if you look at who the same red states are the ones that's trying to hurry up and get the Haitians out and make sure them Haitians don't come in. So I think they understand that if those people come, you know, obviously they're coming in the South, whether it be Texas or whatever. But hey, those people that are coming in, they also need to go to Georgia. Put them in Georgia, put them in Louisiana, put them in Alabama, put them all South Carolina, North Carolina, put them in them southern states, because we need additional numbers. I think, you know, I said this before, and we can debate on this. I know this is a little bit off topic, but we see what those Haitians dealt with. Now maybe they see, and a lot of them are already understood a little bit, but now they see, because a lot of them coming from being at the bottom, and that's an extremely poor country. But a lot of them now, they can see what it is with us, and who and what they're up against in America. And you need to side with us as we build up our numbers. We need to build up our numbers so we can get power in the southern states, you know, with our Freedmen Southern strategy.
That's right, Brother Grimm.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I mean, just, you know, let's give a recap on what we've learned tonight, you know. And I want to pull this image up just to give people a reminder of, like, we spoke about Garvey, Drew Ali, and Elijah Muhammad and his protege Malcolm, you know, going with the Klan. We're seeing and witnessing that today. There's still mission drift going on. If you look at a lot of the people, Reza Islam, right? He's got a picture with Alex Jones, a straight right-wing fascist nut. They're the same people. And they are those who made, what's that phrase, Grim? A pact with hell and a covenant with death. I believe it goes. Are you familiar with that? These are the people that said they have made a pact with hell and a covenant with death when it came to our people. Y'all better understand what y'all looking at. These people, their progeny is here today. They've learned new and effective ways to get at us. And now, all of a sudden, we're siding with these people. These people swore themselves to be our enemies when Trump won, especially in Georgia. Georgia is trying to make it so that no other Trump lost. No other Democratic president could win again. And they're doing that by suppressing the black vote. I've had people tell me, no, that's not what they're doing, trying to convince me that what I'm reading from these bills and the commentary thereof is not what I'm reading, seeing, and hearing. I mean, come on.
Indeed. And, you know, brother, I want to say, because, you know, we basically been talking about in our conversations in regards to this topic in private, you know, and all of our experience, yours, Ali's, Josh, mine, with the Moorish movement, mine with the Moorish movement, the UNIA and other things. And we would basically went into a Bible verse. And I want to read that Bible verse real quick, man, in regards to these people, the triad that we talked about. And if you're just tuning into the show, the triad is Marcus Garvey, Noble Drew Ali, and Elijah Muhammad. And, we was kind of like thinking about it, and basically Jesus in the Bible, he said in what is that, John chapter 10, verse, what is that, verse 8? And he said, then Jesus said unto them, verily, verily, I say unto you, I am the door of the sheep. All that ever came before me are thieves and robbers. That verse, basically made me think about these so-called people that we all used to call master teachers. And just like Jesus said about all the rest of them guys, we saying it today. All that came before us, man, are basically, man, thieves and robbers. And when I go back to my travels and I think about the people I believed in, the Farads, the Elijahs, the Drew Ali's, the Marcus Garveys, the list goes on, right? And when you start to think about this in accords with the divine, the supreme and divine mission of the freedmen, you begin to realize that those guys that came before were thieves and robbers, man. And and another thing, in particular with the Moors, I think about this verse, ye are of your father the devil. And I think about that, and I think about how all of this stuff is interrelated, right? And how these guys were basically taking us off our mission. And I don't want to get off of the topic, but when I think about Drew and I think about Elijah and how we looked at these guys as masterminds, and basically, we had free men and freedmen and women basically who had knowledge, but we just didn't appreciate the knowledge. So, like me and Naheem was talking, we basically kind of like grew up and coming up in knowledge, despising people like W.E.B. Du Bois, despising people like Dr. King, despising the likes of people like Philip Randolph and all of the different types of freedom fighters, because we thought that Drew had the answer.
That's right. And Father Allah and Elijah Muhammad,
Elijah Muhammad. We thought these guys had the answer, but you know what I'm saying? They basically had freedmen who had the knowledge of our ancient history and our connections and our modern history and our connection to the ancients. Like we was talking about Drusilla Dungy Houston, who was also at one point affiliated with the Garvey movement. She wrote that book, Wonderful Ethiopians of the Kushite Empire. And then we also talk about Robert Benjamin Lewis, who wrote an exhaustive history upon our race, and even making a Moorish connection like 40 years before Noble Drew Ali was even born.
Facts.
And then, like we talked about the Islamic aspect of this thing, right? And the Islamic aspect, we know that when our people, a lot of our people who were exiled from the African continent came over here, many of them, studied the native spirit, the aboriginal spiritual knowledge, and from the continent. But then we had some of our brothers who were Muslims and Islamic. And I think it was Ali or Naheem, one of y'all made the statement that pre-1920s Islam was anti-Confederate. But post 1920 Islam was basically pro-Confederate, you know?
That's right.
And that's how we get these ideas of Elijah Muhammad and the ideas and concepts of black degradation, you know, that, and people realize that all these guys always talk about this, black that, black that. Then when you look at Minister Farrakhan, he got straight hair. You follow it? He got permed hair. And all of his followers or whatever who's trying to imitate him, just making a point, who try to imitate him, they'll go get this waves and the pointed, the perms I meant, and the hair slicked down. Well, where does that come from? You understand what I'm saying? That comes from a concept in the actual anti-black teaching that exists in Elijah Muhammad's teachings that taught that basically black people hair was straight and that they knew slavery was coming. One of the scientists or whatever or elders knew that the slavery was coming, so they took a bunch of black people and put them in Africa, and then they cursed them or whatever with kinky hair and all of that stuff and big lips and big noses so they could be strong enough to withstand the slave trade. You see, this anti-African philosophy that is inside of the teachings of the latter-day Islam, you know, and people don't really like see these things. And the statements of Drew Ali saying, yo, you guys are not African, you are Asiatic. You follow what I'm saying? And tied in with Garvey and what Garvey said about our people. I'm saying all of these things so people could understand the lineal descent of how all of this stuff is connected and how easy that these people are basically the fathers of what we call the conscious community.
Right.
And the bottom line is that when you really understand the roots of those philosophies, that's why it's so easy for right-wing people, conscious community people to adopt a lot of right-wing
Talk to him, Grim. Talk to him.
You know, and ideology. So basically, here it is, this coronavirus thing. Everybody was afraid of this coronavirus. White, black, brown, red, yellow, pink, orange, green, right? When it first came out, nobody knew what it was. But then we basically had this media come on, and the media started reporting these stats. And y'all think about how this shit went down, because the media started compiling these stats, and they couldn't wait to get on TV to talk about how coronavirus was killing black people. Oh, mostly black people are dying from it. And notice that when the coronavirus thing began to become a black person's disease, or a lot of black people was dying from it, that's when all of the right-wingers started coming forward. And
that's right.
They didn't want to wear masks.
That's right.
They didn't want shit to close down.
That's
they didn't
right.
want a closure. That because and they realized that some people were asymptomatic. So a lot of those people who hate you was hoping that they were asymptomatic carriers to give it to your diabetic ass. You understand what I'm saying? And your overweight ass. So you could basically die of the coronavirus. See, anti-blackness has its root. Modern Confederate ideology has its root even in this public health issue of the coronavirus. So what are conscious community people, anti-vaxxers and all of this stuff? They're picking up from the same people, right, that a lot of the fathers of the conscious community had a philosophical affinity for. And that's why it's so easy for us to adopt those things, man.
Hey, Grim, I'm out on that. I ain't got nothing else to say after that, bro.
You know?
All right.
So,
peace, Freeman.
Hey, man, I wish to stay on a little while, Josh.
But look,
no, I'm done. Hey, you said I ain't got nothing else to say. You just burnt it, Grim.
Real quick, Grim. Remember when the coronavirus first comes out, the only deaths that were reported was white folks because they were the only ones traveling. So we, like a lot of people, thought this was a white man's disease, and some people were happy, you know, that was going on, and we seen a lot of memes going up. As soon as I think the first black man that got reported on was from Louisiana, if I'm not mistaken, and then it was an avalanche of our people, and the fear then waned, and they were able to shift the blame on our people. What did the lieutenant governor of Texas say? African Americans are the ones out here spreading the coronavirus.
Right, exactly. So the thing about the sad part about it is, like, we got the stats, the numbers, and now we got these people saying, and I'm not trying to get into the vaccine, no vaccine thing, but it's a lot of the right-wing people who are basically anti-vaxxers. I mean, it's a fact. And then a lot of our people, we studying, and we are being influenced by a lot of the bogus COVID-19 things out there, and it's conscious community people that's spreading that shit. So, I'm just saying that I'm making it as an example of how Garvey, Ali, and Drew was the father of these communities, these conscious communities that basically now accept a lot of right-wing ideology because the triad accepted it. And that's basically the point that
and when we clarify what you mean by triad, Grim, for those that's just coming in.
It's Garvey. Garvey gave his ideas and concepts, gave birth to the concepts of Drew Ali. Ali read the whole thing about the trains, and we shouldn't be on the trains. Then we have Noble Drew Ali.
No, Garvey said the trains.
Huh?
Garvey said the trains about
we
didn't build the trains, so we should
talk about we shouldn't because the white man built them, which is another lie. You know, we built the railroad system.
That's right.
And you have Drew Ali with his statements in support of Jim Crowism, and then we have a whole lot of Elijah Muhammad's statements that, in some shape, form, or fashion, is in support of segregation, Jim Crowism. You know, we have him putting his agents up to meet with the Ku Klux Klan and the whole plethora of other You see, a lot of people don't even know, and I lost this article that you know, well, I'm not gonna go there, but you know, people want to talk about xenophobes, but in one of the old Muhammad Speaks newspapers, you know, Elijah Muhammad told his followers not to even marry Africans.
That's right. I remember that. That's right.
That was in the Muhammad Speaks.
That's right. That's right.
You know, but the triad is those three: Garvey, Drew, Ali, and Elijah Muhammad, who basically spread a lot of erroneous information. And like that brother, what's his name, Richard, said, you know, a lot of that stuff has basically set our people back, man, 75 to 100 years for adopting, even if they're not direct followers of Garvey, Drew, and Ali. A lot of people accepted directly those or indirectly those philosophies or whatever that has its implication in our political weakness, man, and economic and social weakness.
Well, the problem with segregation as it was a political and economic problem. You're saying as long as we have equity and reparations, that's fine with me. Yeah, I get that, Cato. I think
he's responding to somebody in the chat though that's talking about.
But I just wanted to just make the point that I think segregation, if you had equality, if you had access, right? The problem for us during segregation was a lack of access. Right, you know, all of these rights of citizenship that were being blocked from us. So that was the problem with segregation and the whole concept of separate but equal being not having to go in front of the Supreme Court is because the stuff was not separate and equal. And so even though as taxpayers we still contributing to this country and you know, in the economy as debtors and consumers, we still didn't have access to the citizenship and the rights of it the way we're supposed to. And you know, we can go into redlining, you know, and all of those things and how that stuff affected our people in terms of our wealth position, etc. So segregation definitely had its problems politically and economically. You know what I mean? So that's the problem. But yet, I don't, you know, if reparations and equity and ownership in corporations and so forth, if that would cure the issue, I don't know. I don't know that necessarily ownership and having money is going to cure the political problems per se that you may encounter with segregation. But yeah, so this was the article. This was also an article. I believe this was coming from A. Philip Randolph's publication. What was the name of his publication? Hold on one second. I think it's the Crusader. Is it not the Crusader? Whatever it is. Anyway, this is A. Philip Randolph's publication, right? And they ran an article about Garvey in here, and I just wanted to read that real quick before we get off. And it's also, again, talking about the Ku Klux Klan. So let's just go through that a little bit. Let me go to the actual thing. So here, it says 2,000 Negroes hear Garvey denounced. Speaker declares ex-president general is an ally of the Ku Klux Klan. Rallying to the cry of Marcus Garvey must go, nearly 2,000 Negroes, members of the Friends of Negro Freedom, which was A. Philip Randolph and them's organization, meeting yesterday afternoon in Douglas Hall, which was at Lenox Avenue and 142nd Street. For those who don't know, Douglas Hall was right where the Cotton Club, the original Cotton Club, was at the same location, 142nd and Lenox. Listen to speakers denounce Garvey as an ally of the Ku Klux Klan, a robber of ignorant Negroes and a demagogic charlatan. Dr. Robert Bagnall, organizer for the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, who spoke on the madness of Marcus Garvey, denounced the leader of the Universal Negro Improvement Association, who resigned his post of President General last Saturday, and said the Negro leader had made a failure of every business venture he touched, losing hundreds of thousands of dollars belonging to persons who trusted him. He opposed Garvey's Back to Africa movement as impractical, visionary, and ridiculous. The chairman, A. Philip Randolph, announced that the meeting was the third of a series of 4 designed to create opinion among Negroes against Garvey. He said that similar meetings would be held all over the United States in a crusade to drive Garvey from communities where Negroes reside. Dr. Bagnall aroused great applause when he compared Garvey to Don Quixote battling with windmills. And when you read a little bit of that story, what you find is that Don Quixote was someone who was fighting windmills because he thought windmills were like some kind of monster, but he kept losing the fight. It's crazy. So he says he has misled poor ignorant Negroes. He said, promising them a competence for life from their investments in his enterprises. Replying to Garvey's assertions that his enemies were tools of white people, Dr. Bagnall declared Garvey to be inspired by those midnight assassins, the Ku Klux Klan. He declared that Garvey must go because, like Judas Iscariot, he sold himself for 30 pieces of silver in order to curry favor with the Klan. The speaker referred to Garvey's reported visit to Atlanta and to the statement credited to Garvey's secretary that the Ku Klux Klan might rehabilitate the Black Star Line by investing money in it, and said Garvey tells you to accept the Ku Klux Klan at its face value. He tells you not to oppose the Klan, which has lynched you and robbed you again and again. That's Garvey, the leader who shows himself a cowardly, whining adventurer, an individual of doubtful honesty, and a demagogic charlatan. That's the end of that article.
And I want to do this, Ali. I want to go back for those of you who have just came in. I want to go back because we're at the end, and I want to recap, because many people can say, and they could be within their rightful means for saying that A. Philip Randolph and those black boule, talented 10 types, et cetera, they were against Garvey. But these critiques are coming from several different places. Even what was the African Blood Brotherhood?
African Blood Brotherhood was headed up by a couple of immigrants, black Caribbeans.
Caribbeans and freedmen were in that group, but it was headed up by Caribbeans. They had a critique. Again, let's read from, I believe, the greatest immigrant ally we've ever had in Hubert Harrison. That's my personal belief. He says, by the 1920 convention, however, a campaign was underway to have Harrison dismissed from the editorship of the paper because he was the publisher, the editor and publisher of Garvey's The Negro World. He was the brain, he was the mind behind most of everything that Garvey did. This man right here, Hubert Harrison. Y'all make sure y'all look him up. It says, Harrison in turn was highly critical of Garvey and worked against him. His criticism concerned the extravagance of Garvey's claim. See, this guy was breaking down how Garvey was inflating his numbers of 4 million worldwide members. Remember, Garvey was making the claim that a lot of those members was in Africa. But we just read from a source earlier where Garvey claimed that the people in Africa were savage and backwards.
Right.
Anyway, it says, let me see. His criticisms concerned the extravagance of Garvey's claims, his ego, the conduct of his stock selling schemes, and his political practices. Though Harrison continued to write columns and book reviews for the Negro World in 1922, their political differences grew, and he sought to develop political alternatives to Garvey. In particular, Harrison urged, pay attention, y'all, Harrison urged political action in terms of electoral politics, attempted to build an all-black Liberty Party to run African-American candidates for political offices, including the presidency, consistently maintained the position that African Americans' principal struggle was in the United States and that they should therefore not seek to develop a state in Africa, opposed imperialism and did not seek an African empire, argued that Africans, not African Americans, would lead struggles in Africa, vociferously opposed the Ku Klux Klan, whom Garvey met with, and Ali was just reading the story about what A. Philip Randolph and them reported about that meeting, and favored reason, science, and fact-based knowledge over emotional appeals and exaggerated claims to the masses. So this man was saying what we say at Be the Power: educate yourself, become the facts with the power as well, not get caught up in a bunch of preacher man hype, because if we chose to, we can do that too, but that will lead us nowhere. It will lead us right back into the slow quicksand-like thinking of a lot of the people that followed Garvey in the 1920s. Was there a silver lining to some of that stuff? Yeah, I'm gonna say yeah. I'm not gonna speak for everybody. I'm gonna say there was in some ways, right? But the overall elements of it, they were no good for us.
Hey, Naheem, pull up Doc Phyllis's comment. I wish we had time to talk to this brother, because it seemed like he trying to say the Klans had some good ideology. You read from Nate Cloran or something? Like, I don't know. I don't understand. Like, What are you doing? You're defending the Klan? I don't really get what you're saying. We're reading articles. These are things that were published in the 1920s. Like you saying, we keep bringing up the Klan. These are things that were published decades before any of us were even born. What do you mean we keep bringing up the Klan? These are the things that they were concerned with. The brothers and the Caribbean members of the African Blood Brotherhood were concerned with Garvey's meeting with the Klan. They wind up falling out with Garvey as members of the UNIA. They wind up falling out with him over his meeting with the Klan. These were guys from the Caribbean. You had African Americans who had a problem with him meeting with the Ku Klux Klan. They wound up falling out with this man over his meeting with the Ku Klux Klan. This is stuff that happened in the 1920s. This is not something, it's not about us continuously bringing up the Klan. I don't give a fuck about the Klan. This is what's in the articles. We're just reading the damn articles. So if you want to come on, Mr. Phileas, and tell us how the Ku Klux Klan is some kind of great organization or whatever the fuck, I don't know the point that you're trying to make. BPP and the NOI met with them as well. Okay, so what? So what?
Yeah, and we said that, you know, we said that. I mean, we said that. I said it time and time again that the triad, which is Garvey, Ali, and Drew, are infamous for meeting with the Ku Klux Klan. So I mean, you ain't saying nothing by saying that the Nation of Islam, like that's a justification. None of them son of a gun shouldn't have ever met with no Klansmen at all. Period.
Fact.
You know?
Right. And so, then these are the very people, they're looking for help from the Ku Klux Klan, but these are the very tell you we don't need no white man to help us build this and that. You got to do for self. What the fuck you mean with the Klan for if this is about do for self, nigga? What you talking about?
You know, and we've studied this. We've studied this document in great.
Yeah, they depending on the Klan. I'm sorry, Graham. Go ahead, bro. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Nah, Ali, I just was saying, like you and I, you know, we've studied in great detail J.B. Stoner's, who was the Grand Wizard of the Ku Klux Klan.
Talk to him, bro.
And his letter to Elijah Muhammad and his letter back. And he let Elijah Muhammad know how he feel about, you know, the
black people.
The Muhammadan religion, as he called it, and the Negroes and the Negro race and all of that kind of stuff. So I mean, it really wasn't why the hell that they have to meet with them Klansmen. You know what I'm saying? He told it, J.B. Stoner told Elijah how he felt. You know, and he was like, they'll feel a hell with Mohammedans, you know? So, I mean, man, it's just crazy. I just want to make one more comment too, just, you know, how we get sidetracked by this mission drift, you know, and, you know, I also want to mention like the Rastafarians in that regard. We know that they, you know, that religion wasn't founded by freedmen, but like a lot of freedmen embraced that religion. And, you know, I just want to point out, you know, in my opinion, another fallacy, you know, of Rastafarianism, because like the Rastafarian brothers basically set Garvey up as a prophet. And, you know, most of our Rastafarian brothers believe that His Imperial Majesty, Haile Selassie, was God incarnate or God in person, right? But like when you study it, when they say that, I think Garvey made a statement, say, look to Africa where a black king rise up. And a lot of the Rastafarian brothers say that that was a prophecy of Garvey about, you know, Haile Selassie's coronation. You know, and that's a fallacy because like when you do research about the relationship between Marcus Garvey and Haile Selassie, you'll find out that Marcus Garvey, you know, was a critic of Haile Selassie during the war, you know, and I'll just read it just so it can be clear.
No
doubt. Let's see. They said, okay. I'm sorry, y'all. Let me. I'm looking for it, but basically during the war, Emperor Emperor Haile Selassie had made some moves that Garvey basically considered questionable, right? So in 1935, during the Second Italo-Ethiopian War had broken out, and Italy invaded Ethiopia. Garvey spoke out against the Italians, but he praised the government of Selassie, right? But by that October, he was becoming increasingly critical of Haile Selassie, basically blaming his lack of preparedness for Ethiopia's failure in the war. So when Haile Selassie fled his homeland and arrived in Britain, Garvey was among black delegates who arranged to meet him at the Waterloo station, but Garvey was rebuffed. From that point, he became more openly hostile to Haile Selassie, describing him as a feudal monarch who looks down upon his slaves and serfs with contempt, and a great coward who ran away from his country to save his skin. So, if Haile Selassie is God and Marcus Garvey is this prophet who prophesies the coming of this God king from Africa, Haile Selassie, then why is he talking about him like a dog?
That's right.
That's and
right.
that goes to show you, another quote that
That's right. Somebody said Selassie is a god but can't defeat Italy. Okay.
Right. Well, I don't believe that. That's what they believe.
No, that's what. Yeah, he's being facetious.
Oh, okay.
Like, dude can't defeat Italy.
Right. Exactly. I mean, that's an excellent point. So, with that being said, man, it goes to show you how, we was talking about these quotes, man, about these people raising up. And what was the quote that we said? Many shall come in my name saying I am Christ. And that's basically what we did with, man. Supreme mission drift.
That's right. So look, we got Doc Felix on. So let me pull his comment up because we're going to start here. At Be the Power, y'all are sitting here talking about civil rights as a solution, and the white man has shown you his playbook. Break that down for us and everybody that's listening.
But
Doc
I have
Felix.
a question that Doc Phyllis, where's your family from, brother?
Tuskegee, Alabama, Macon County to be exact.
So you're a freedman?
I don't even know what that is, but if it falls in line with having your folks have roots in America, that's fine.
Your family is descendants of former slaves in America?
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead. So go ahead. Break down what you were saying.
So firstly, I want to say what I agree with of what you guys were talking about. First off, I want to say I do agree that people who come from other countries shouldn't be able to come in and tell us what we need to be doing because we're here on the ground and we have an understanding of what it takes. But that understanding also includes the failure of civil rights, the failure of Title IX, the failure of everything that we tried to bring that has been taken over by all these other groups, including immigrants. And I'm saying, if we're looking at the Klan, and I know that you guys didn't bring it up specifically you only brought it up for this discussion. You didn't bring it up as part of your anti-philosophy. I know it just particularly pertains to this topic, but I'm responding to it because as a general, I don't know the intricacies of the Klan. I don't know their bylaws and all of that. I just know as what they present themselves to be as a segregationist organization who does for themselves, who feeds themselves and looks out for their interests. We should be trying to do that rather than trying to work ourselves through the court. When I say the white man has shown us his playbook, what I mean is that he's shown that none of your specificity matters. None of your I'm going to call myself a freedman matters. None of that matters. As long as your ass has black skin, as long as your ass is different than him and cannot acquire power in a real way, then all of this other stuff has been proven.
Okay. Let's get to some back and forth now. So what do you propose?
So my proposal is the same thing that the Haitians should have done after the Haitian Revolution, right? So when they pushed the French back, they had control over the sugar cane, right? And Toussaint Louverture presented the idea that they should be the world's #1 sugarcane producer. But the Negroes were so lazy, you know, I'm saying lazy because they had freedom. Part of being free is the option of laziness. That's what I wrote in the comments. So when people get mad that I call black people lazy, I'm saying that's an option. When you are free, laziness is an option. So Negroes didn't want to work the land. Negroes.
So wait, let me. I'm sorry. And I don't mean to interrupt. So are you saying that black people should have in America, basically, if I'm correlating, if I'm making the proper correlation, we should have stayed picking cotton for ourselves, correct?
You know what? A row of our own would never have hurt us. Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
We should have controlled the crops that we could control, and definitely died and fought to keep our land instead of selling it off.
Okay, no, I hear you. So can you express the differences between the Haitian Revolution and many of the slave revolts that happened in the South? What is your knowledge on those two events, and how do you see them as similar? And do you see them as similar?
Do I see them as similar? I see them similar in the sense that we had our own communities. That's why I see they had theirs through fighting the French. They had their own internal communities. We had our own internal communities upon being freed as slaves. So meaning that we had our own schools. We, you know the litany of things that we had. I don't need to go through it. So the point of what I'm saying is that we need to go back to that. We need to go back to self-reliance. We need to go back to self-governance of our own community. Of course, it's going to be internal. I also wrote this in the comments as well. So you guys are talking about, I don't know if you were talking about it, but internal socialism and external capitalism. So that's the idea. We should be communicating with each other globally and internally. So like when the brother Josh was saying, what did the brother Josh say? He said, he's saying that the idea of Pan-Africanism is saying that we should be concerned with black people abroad before we're concerned with black people in America. And that's never been the idea of Pan-Africanism. The idea of Pan-Africanism is yes, it is global unity, but it also includes us working on what we got here in the United States. I don't know where this whole idea
all right, bro. All right.
Can I address some of that?
Go ahead, bro.
Because I saw some of the comments and they basically took the wind out of my sails. But I just want to say this, right? Do you know what they did to the Haitian economy and why the Haitians are in the condition that it's in today?
Teach me. You talking about the tariffs? Are you talking about sanctions? They couldn't export, they couldn't trade with other countries.
Right. They couldn't do that. So just like the elder just pointed out, his thing was just on the screen. The elder just pointed out that just because you have something that they don't mean that it's a market for it, right? So they can produce all the sugar cane. What, they go trade it amongst themselves? It's no market for it, So the bottom line of it is this.
So alternatively, so since you said that, so since they couldn't trade other places, since we're talking about civil rights, what was their civil rights option to be able to trade worldwide?
You don't.
Well, when you talking about
the only option is military.
Wait, hold on, brother. Hold on. Now, here's the thing. You're talking about civil rights, which shows that
that's not what I'm talking about. That's what y'all are talking about.
You just brought it up, bro. Chip. All right, look, we got mutual. Let's you gotta be respectful, bro.
So here's the thing. You're talking about civil rights, right? When you're talking about civil rights, you're talking about something that was germane to us here because there was a constitutional government that was set up. There was a second founding of the United States of America, which is the Reconstruction movement, right? So that's what you're talking about with civil rights. You can't equate that to Haiti because it ain't really have nothing to do with the civil rights. They actually overthrew their oppressors and set up their own government, correct? So with that being said, we talking about the actual markets. And see, that's the problem with this whole bootstrapperism is regard to what you was talking about, the sugar cane and stuff like that. And you called the blacks lazy, right? Well, think about this. Those people have been growing that shit all of their lives, just like black people have been growing cotton and shit all of their lives. They was fucking sick of that shit. So, you know, you basically telling somebody to engage in a practice that a lot of people, they may not have been lazy, but they may have been psychologically opposed to those trades. You understand what I'm saying? And when somebody's dealing with a psychological issue, you can't say that that person is lazy just because they didn't want to participate in the craft that was forced upon them by they slave masters, right? Like, for example, my mother, she grew up poor, and that's all they ate was oatmeal. Now, to this day, my mother won't eat any oatmeal.
Hey, my mother is like that with grits, Grim.
Right,
she won't eat grits to this day.
They won't
She
eat
cooked it for us.
Right. So my father-in-law, you follow what I'm saying? He won't eat seafood because that's all his mother would do was bring home freaking seafood. So how you gonna say somebody that's all they brought home was cotton, and you say, oh man, if y'all niggas was so fucking lazy, we would be able to sell. And then it's like the brothers pointed out in the chat that there were embargoes on Haiti. In fact, Haiti didn't stop paying the French back to what? If I'm not mistaken, what, the 40s? So you meant what you're saying, brother man, is not really making sense. Now, what you said something about Pan-Africanism and the idea of Pan-Africanism. What you said about that, we'll address that.
Let Ali. I know Ali is
yeah, I'm sorry, Ali. Go ahead.
Let Ali get in.
No, it's all good because we kind of talked about this stuff on Dr. Ma'az's channel when we talked to Ashar Imhotep. The same this Pan-African thing, right? It's a nice idea. I'm not against Pan-Africanism, right? I'm not against it, but I'm not really for it because it's just an idea, and it's an idea that has been around for at least 100 years, over 100 years now. It's not brand new. The people on the continent can't manifest it. The people in the Caribbean can't manifest it. People come here and try to heap all of this stuff on African Americans like the onus of making this shit work is on us. That's not true. I will never accept that. And at the same time, when you talk about specificity doesn't matter, it does matter. It's the very reason why they import certain black people to advance them in different fields past us. Because if specificity didn't matter, they would invest in black Americans. They wouldn't need to go to Nigerians and British Nigerians and all of these different people to bring them in to put them over us, utilizing the programs and set asides that was fought for by our ancestors that you mentioned earlier in your commentary. So no, specificity does matter, particularly as it relates to the issue of justice for the things that our people went through during slavery, into Reconstruction, into Jim Crow, into the fucking Great Recession and everything else that we went through in this country. Voter suppression, redlining, and all that stuff. Specificity does matter. To you, it may not matter. Maybe you don't understand why it matters, but for us who understand the plight that we went through and who understand that plight undergirds our call for justice, yes, it matters. Hell yeah, it matters. It doesn't. Go ahead, brother. Go ahead, make your point.
Okay. So there's a second undergirding that you're not recognizing. There's an undergirding of an extra governmental structure that governs even when we do the things that you're suggesting, right? Even when we fight for civil rights, even when we create the legislation, even when we get it passed and created, because there's a second undergirding organization of people that pushes the government. It doesn't matter what we produce. You understand what I'm saying? It doesn't matter that we separate ourselves as a different group. What matters is is what can we do and what can we protect? What can we physically
So
do?
you
And what can we
basically
keep?
calling for an armed revolution.
I'm not saying an armed revolution. I'm saying armed revolution in response to us, our inability to work it in the system that y'all are saying. So I'm not saying nobody should try to work laws. I'm not saying that. I'm saying recognize the history. Recognize that the real currency of change is the skin that you carry. The real currency that has allowed all these separate groups. Y'all talked about the Irish earlier not being considered white. Y'all talked about the Irish because they have the complexion for protection. They are able to work the system in a manner that inculcates them and makes them protected. We don't have that option. We have never had that option.
Right, but
so
here,
what I'm saying, no matter what you create, it can be taken from you. No matter what you create, it can be taken from you.
Yeah, but Pan-Africanism ain't gonna stop that. If it was gonna stop that, it would have stopped it already. This is why I don't understand why y'all keep arguing that. That has not even helped them Africans over there. Like when the Africans got up out of colonialism in the 50s and the 60s, it took them that long to get out of colonialism. It wasn't no Pan-Africanism that helped them get up out of that shit. So here's what I'm saying. Here's what I'm saying. Our people, the advances that we've made in this country, however you want to look at them, whether that's the Reconstruction Amendments, the winning of the Civil War, because a lot of people don't understand, without the Negro involvement in the Civil War, the Union would have lost that war.
And the American Revolution as well.
Damn straight. So without that, without the work that our people did, Medgar Evers and others, to bring about the Civil Rights Acts of the 1960s, without them doing that, we wouldn't have had any kind of advancement. So the people have to listen. This is our legacy. That's what we do. We've been doing that. We've been fighting for justice. You know why? Because it's our country. It's just as much or more so our country as it is any of these white people, most of whom are immigrants, trying to tell us that it's not, and that we should go back to Africa. Most of them white people telling us that.
What is your mechanism? What is your mechanism for enforcing that?
For enforcing what?
Everything that you just suggested. You said that the world wouldn't have these benefits if it weren't for us fighting for.
Not the world, us here. I'm talking about us in this country.
Right, in this country.
Us in this country.
Well, no, I'm saying the world because immigrants benefit from it too. So the world is included.
Okay, I'll get your point. So those people benefit, or the mechanism is the same thing that it's been the whole time. It's been political action. How else did we get it? The Civil War was the last time that I can think of where we actually physically fought for liberation. Physically. After the Civil War, everything else was done through political means. So through political means, you were able to get Civil Rights Act of 1866, the Reconstruction Amendments after the war. Then you keep moving forward to the laws and legislation. Even the cases. Think about this. Even the cases, Thurgood Marshall, these landmark cases. This man, using his brain, was able to make certain maneuvers inside of the Supreme Court. So I don't think it's a dead issue for us to try to use our brain and our political action and our civic engagement to continue moving forward. I just think that mission, like we've been talking about, mission drift has made our people go off track, right? And Pan-Africanism, having our people looking towards Africa, Afrocentrism, all of this kind of stuff is mission drift. It takes our people off of the things that we're supposed to be doing right here, the same way Hubert Harrison said back in those days. This is what's crazy about it, and I didn't even know that he said this stuff until Naheem was reading it. Back in the 20s, Hubert Harrison is saying the American Negro is going to deal with his shit here, and the African's going to have to deal with his shit over there. Like and that's exactly what it's been. Even when the Africans come here, the majority of these people don't get involved in the things that we go through.
Right.
I grew up in New York City, going to protests and rallies and demonstrations and marches and shit like that. You know, for the most part, the only people that would really participate in those things was Jamaicans and sometimes Puerto Ricans.
I have a different experience.
The Africans, most of them is in the area like 116th Street. They're starting to move now throughout Harlem. You have different pockets of Africans throughout Harlem and shit. But the majority of them people stayed out of our stuff.
Stayed out of our stuff.
Two things.
Wait. Hold on. Let me just jump in. Hold on. I gotta jump in, and then you can come back. I gotta add, because I brought you on. Well, it was a bunch of comments you made, but the civil rights thing, the civil rights comment you made, I want you to still respond, but I need to know, because we getting late into the hours, but I need to know, what does civil rights mean?
So I can't give you a textbook definition, but I'm
so this is what I'm saying, right? And there's a reason why I asked that question, because when you ask people what civil rights mean that are against civil rights, that say that civil rights won't work, et cetera, they don't know what it means at all, right? So this is what we're gonna do, because this is Be the Power. If you watch our intro, the intro says class is in session. So I want to read civil, then I want to read rights. Civil, adjective, relating to ordinary citizens and their concerns, as distinct from military or ecclesiastical matters. So civil, in this sense, is showing us by definition, not just some ideology you think attaches to Martin Luther King Jr.
Now I got three things.
I got it. Hold on. Whom I'm guessing you're probably against because you're with this Pan-Africanist ideology. Okay, wait, hold on. Okay, cool. All right, cool. So now let's read rights. Rights. That which is morally correct, just or honorable. 2, a moral or legal entitlement to have or obtain something or to act in a certain way. So what is the legal entitlement? Entitlement is laid out in the Declaration of Independence when it says that all men are created equal and that they have unalienable rights. This is that legal entitlement that we as citizens, civil, right, our concerns, tax-paying citizens at that. So when you come up here, number one, please come prepared. That's for anybody listening in. Make sure you got your ducks lined up in a row. And we're not doing this to necessarily embarrass anybody, but to show that we need all of our freedmen thinking on the same page. I pray, brother, that you go back and watch this and say, damn, I was wrong on a whole lot of stuff.
No, I'm not embarrassed in the least, but I have two more things I want to say.
No doubt, I got you. And you might not feel it in the moment, but when you think about the very simple definition of civil rights, you couldn't even give us a breakdown of that, and yet you're against it. It's like the people that's against the vaccine. They couldn't tell you the first thing in it besides the baby nano microchips, which is not in it. You see what I'm saying? These people just running off of what other people have said and ideologies, in your case, that stem all the way back to the early 1900s, brother. But go ahead.
Okay, so the first thing is that Brother BTP Ali was saying that we, on a large scale, don't deal with Africans, or that when you were in New York, Africans wouldn't be involved in our fights and our struggles. I have a different experience. I come from a university town where we have many African people that come in, and anytime we had any type of city council meeting, anytime, any type of fights that we were engaged in, because I was a youth activist when I was younger, African people would be involved. There's also economic ties that we have with Africa. There's businesses that Black people engage in the continent and doing business backwards and forwards. What I'm simply suggesting is that part of our agenda needs to be increasing our independence from this system, increasing our independence, increasing our ability to survive without having to beg anybody for anything.
How are we going to increase our independence when a lot of the people over there in the continent can barely increase their independence? Do you know a lot of the value of those people's dollars are dependent upon Federal Reserves way over in Europe? We're talking about African dollars with African
again. It's all about being
money. Hold on, brother, because hold on. Do you know that they have money with African leaders and presidents on it, and a lot of that stuff is backed by European foreign banks and foreign reserves? You follow what I'm saying? Because you keep talking about independence, like our independence is determined by some type of relationship with Africa. You follow what I'm saying? And look, I'm not saying it's determined by. I didn't say it was determinate. I didn't say it was determinate. That's not what I said. With African relationships, and I don't have no problem with people dealing with Africa. You follow what I'm saying? But by far, the interest of African people in the struggles of African American people in this country is barely recognizable, brother. And I hear what you say about your experience. You follow what I'm saying? But the bottom line is that, look, let me tell you something, man. I had a family member that married a Nigerian, and they have the Nigerian Association. We went to the event or whatever, right? It's like, come to the event, you know. We was invited by my family member to the event, you know. That was the coldest, driest event that I ever went to, because, you know, we weren't Nigerian, and the people kind of felt like we were foreigners to be participating in that event, and treated us with like a cold shoulder. And I ain't mad at them for that. I mean, I was mad at them back in the day because I didn't really have that understanding. But like what Ali was basically insinuating, everybody keep talking about this whole Pan-Africanism thing like it's a savior to Black people. And it's usually Black people in America that's pushing it, whether it's immigrant, person from the islands. But we pushing it, but them people over there not pushing no Pan-African agenda in relationships with that. Because if that was the case, this shit would have been achieved a long time ago. It's simple, right? But when the brothers talking about
you apologizing for the Africans, let them apologize for themselves.
Right, exactly.
Because I haven't had that experience, so I can't identify with being ostracized or feeling like I'm outside.
But I'm talking about it large. I'm not just talking about my experiences, but I'm talking about just the experience in general of the negativity that a lot of our people sometimes even receive from Black people overseas, brother. So, and I'm not a hater of those people, you know, and the brothers will tell you, none of us really like, you know, hate those people. But basically what we keep saying is that this whole concept of Pan-Africanism is basically being sold to us like it's a cure, and it's not a cure to the issues that we have going on over here. And brother, you know, this whole, you know, and I understand we got issues and problems in this country, and that's what we working to fix. We basically continuing the work of our ancestors and fixing the problems in our land here. This
Can I agree with you on something? I'm about to agree with you on something.
Yeah, this is our land that we need to be laboring for. So when you say civil rights is a failure, no, it's not a failure. There have been sabotages in the system, yes. And there are saboteurs that has sabotaged some of the things, and many of them look like us, but it wasn't a failure, because basically, man, what they said, from here to what? Equality. You follow what I'm saying? We talking about people who were beat, raped, maimed on the street. You follow what I'm saying? To create an aboriginal indigenous culture in this country amongst Native Black Americans that is a light for everybody around the world, brother. You follow what I'm saying to you, brother? So
yeah, I was about to agree
talk
with you
about Pan-Africanism. When we talking about Pan-Africanism, you talking about an idea and a concept that has only been achieved in fantasy. While we have freedmen in this country that have moved the needle forward year after year after year for damn near the past 300 years.
Where you at, Rob Bourne? I know you listening. Tom, where you at, Rob Bourne? Because let me say real quick, Grim, I'll be noticing a lot of cats be wanting to have these debates on Clubhouse, you know, about Pan-Africanism. And my brother Rob Bourne has said some things about reparations, you know, in the Clubhouse crowd where you got a bunch of people that can shout you down. Your sidekicks are not too intelligent. You know, they get into these little circular arguments and you know, it's kind of corny, but it is what it is. But I do want to get Rob Bourne up here for a debate on Pan-Africanism. I think that'll be a good discussion because they believe in that. They believe that Pan-Africanists were the ones that built up, not freedmen, American freedmen, but Pan-Africanists, people that had this ideology of Pan-Africanism. And they mentioned people like Martin Delaney, who was a Pan-Africanist until I believe it was the Civil War broke out, and he was like, nah, F that. I'm fighting for my people. Forget that Africa stuff. I'll get back to that another time. My people need me to fight for them right now. So, I mean, I'm calling Rob Bourne out. I just had to throw that out there. So, we're going on 3 hours, but we want you to go ahead, Doc Felix. And then I know brother Ali want to say something. Go ahead, Doc Felix, say your closing words, and then Ali gonna respond.
Okay. So what I agree with is that I never suggested that Pan-Africanism is a panacea for all of our ills. I never suggested that Pan-Africanism is the solvent to all of our problems. What I'm saying is that in the same way that there were saboteurs to the civil rights movement, there are also saboteurs to the Pan-Africanist movement as well. There's saboteurs in every movement that we try to make. What I'm saying is that if we're gonna sit here and talk about Marcus Garvey, then we're gonna have to talk about Booker T. Washington. We're gonna have to talk about Ida B. Wells.
We talk about Booker T.
We did.
We're gonna have to talk about people who have said disparaging things about quote unquote freedmen. You understand what I'm saying? And what I'm saying is that we shouldn't take any option off the table. We shouldn't take any option off the table. We're not in a position to be like, I'm not going to build relationships. Other people who fight for their rights don't do that. Other people who fight for their rights look for allies. You understand what I'm saying? So that's all I have to say.
We don't have a problem with that.
If I come to discuss something with y'all, I'll make sure I have my ducks in a row. But no, I don't feel embarrassed or anything of the sort.
And let me ask you a question.
In fact, if you want to talk about civil rights, I grew up in the younger civil rights movement, up under, some of the major players in the civil rights movement. So I got to meet all of these people at, and I organized events with civil rights leaders, back when Willie Ricks, you know what I mean? We talking about what's the brother's name? Kwame Ture before he passed away. I introduced some of these civil rights movement people to a younger generation. So
that's what we were saying, brother, that we believe that a lot of these people
or have a misunderstanding of what civil rights was. I'm just saying I'm not going to give you a textbook.
Yeah, but what we were saying was that a lot of these people, like Kwame Ture, they were the mission drift, brother. They should have got with King and stayed with King. They developed under King and then branched off.
Willie Ricks is from America too. So
I'm talking about Kwame Ture. I don't know Willie Ricks. I'm not familiar with him. I'm talking about Kwame Ture.
Coined the term Black Power?
No, I thought Kwame Nkrumah. I mean, not Kwame.
Kwame Ture.
Kwame Ture coined that term, but
They were together. They were roommates.
They were okay. Then I'm off on that.
Listen,
you got me on
all the
that
brother is saying is that he know Kwame Ture. He not familiar with the other brother. That's all.
That's it.
Let's move on. That's irrelevant.
Right,
Definitely.
and because we're not really pushers of, we were never really pushers of black power like that. So that's not our thing.
That's right.
It's not our thing. We have a problem with blackness. We can go into that at another time. So anyway, let me ask you. You have a degree. You call yourself Doc Phillips. You're a doctor for real?
Oh no. That's just a pseudonym.
Oh, okay. Now I was gonna ask what's your special. No doubt, man. I appreciate you coming on, though, man. So at the end of the day, I think the bottom line for us is that as like Brother Grimm said, as descendants of the people who were fighting here, it's our obligation, it's our duty to continue to fight. We can't drop the ball. And one of the things that I noticed that we've done, and I've said this on a number of occasions, since Dr. King's death and the put down of the Black Panther Party, who were political, putting the Black Panther Party down and murdering Dr. King, from that period, man, we really haven't been able to achieve much of anything, right? And I think what they did was, by taking down the Black Panther Party and murdering Dr. King, is they killed the spirit of our people. And I think that we have to get that fighter spirit back. It ain't about fleeing. See, one of the problems with a lot of the Pan-Africanists is they keep trying to direct us towards Africa. And that's that saying, and this goes back to what we were talking about with Marcus Garvey, this whole sentiment of let's cut and run, because whatever we were doing here, it ain't working. We need to go and try to repatriate to Africa or some crap like that. That's not part of our legacy. That's not what we've done in mass. You had some people who went to Liberia, some people went to Leon, some people went to, large majority of us was here. And we fought here for advancements in whatever however you want to look at them, here. And we've always, like the sister just said, the fighting spirit. That was our spirit. We never in mass cut and run. We didn't try to do that. That's not our thing. And so when other people from outside come in trying to tell everybody that we need to cut and run, it's a reason why Black people didn't in mass leave with Garvey, when Garvey was saying we should all go back to Africa. They're not going to do that, because that's not really what Black Americans want to do. Their home is here. Their businesses are here. Their cars are here. Their families are here. Everything is here. Man, what are we going to do? Uproot everything and go to start all over from scratch in some other country that doesn't have land set aside for us? They don't have an economy for us. They don't have nothing for us. What are we going to do?
Indeed. And I want to say, and for all those people who believe that, if they believe that Pan-Africanism is basically the cure-all for everything and going back to Africa is it, leave. Don't stay here 20 years, 30 years, 40 more fucking years, right?
Expatriate.
Expatriate now.
Been telling people that.
Waiting. Heaven is awake. Go there now. If you're not an American citizen, or that you think that this country is the worst place that you can be, leave. What? Let me show y'all something. What did the George Floyd situation reveal about police brutality, right? I'm gonna show y'all something about freedmen. And like the sister said, the fighting spirit. When the freedmen and stuff started fighting and protesting over the death of George Floyd, what did that do? That movement influenced Black people all over Africa, right? And guess what? Guess who started talking about their police brutality? Nigerians.
That's right.
And they killed over 200 something people in Nigeria. This ain't no colonialists doing this, right? This was their own fucking people.
That's right.
And all of the Nigerians, when the Black people in America stood up for George Floyd, all of the Black people in Africa and Nigeria started standing up against the SARS unit what they call it, the special anti-robbery squad that was going around beating and brutalizing Nigerians. So they're having a police brutality problem in Nigeria too. So when they saw us rise up, they rose up against their own police brutality in their own country. The whole country of young people stood up against their own black police force that was brutalizing them. But Pan-Africanism is the cure to that shit. Y'all follow what I'm saying?
We follow.
Y'all see the irony in that?
That's right.
You follow what I'm saying? Y'all want us to go over there, and they police kicking their ass too. You know, we gaining ground over here.
Right. And it's like you made me think about what I said earlier. I don't know if Doc Phillips heard this part, but earlier we was talking about the actual insanity of Garvey's Back to Africa movement in the 1920s when the whole continent was colonized. These people under colonial power. Like, so it just didn't make no damn sense.
The reason why the reason why I said what I said is that how can we, and I rewrote it later on, is how can we claim that quote unquote they didn't want Marcus Garvey in that country when that country was not controlled by African people? You understand what I'm saying? So the same power that we're talking about, colonists, the same powers that we're talking about, did not want. So let me ask you all a question. You think there's no fear throughout the whole world of a unified black people? There's no fear of a unified black people throughout the world.
I'm sure it is.
Absolutely.
I'm sure it is.
So
I wouldn't
think that
deny
would have had anything to do with why Marcus Garvey was not allowed in certain places?
Well,
it's possible. I don't know.
have to take a look at Marcus Garvey's personal life, man. And after Marcus Garvey went back to Jamaica, by the time before he went to England, Marcus Garvey, man, basically lost everything he had. Not only did he lost everything he had, he went into his wife's savings and spent all her shit. You understand what I'm saying? So basically, man, I think he had wrote to his friends that he'll never go back to Jamaica. He said he left Jamaica a broken man. Then he went to England and then got involved in black Englishman politics. You follow what I'm saying? We're not saying that they don't fear black people coming together all over the world. But what we talking about is the issues that Marcus Garvey had that basically made him null and void as the leader to do that.
Right. That's a fact.
You follow what I'm saying?
He didn't have the capacity to do that.
He didn't have the capacity to do it.
No.
All his business dealings and stuff ended up being failures, man. His house, they gave him, I think, like 10 grand. The people that UNRA raised for him when he went back to Jamaica. He bought a big old giant house, mansion, and land or whatever. Before it was all over with, that shit was foreclosed on.
But in the same way that I'm not suggesting that Pan-Africanism is a panacea for all of the problems of the black world, I'm also not suggesting that any one person can create a philosophy that's going to govern everybody in every specific situation throughout the world. I'm saying the tenets, though, the understanding that we have more power unified than separated, it has to be part of.
Let me jump in. Let me ask you a question. How does for instance, Louisiana just got hit by a major hurricane, Ida, right? We did a fundraiser right here on Be the Power. We helped out several families. The sister actually contacted me today. The first sister we did the fundraiser for, her story is getting out there just to give everybody an update. So I think she received a couple donations from some agents. I got to read the text. I just forgot when I got back in the crib to do so, to read it thoroughly. But how does unity with African nations help the people in Louisiana when the American government failed at doing their job?
That's an easy answer.
Okay,
that's the point of what I'm saying. Go ahead.
Oh, then what? Okay, wait a minute.
That's the point of what I'm saying.
The point of what you're saying. Wait, I thought unity was supposed to be the thing that helps us.
It's one of the things. See, you're missing what I'm saying. It's one. I said a tool belt. It has to be part of our tool belt. It's one of the things that helps us. I'm saying we should not. Again, I'm gonna re-say the same thing I said before. We should not take any option off the table. Is what I'm saying. So there's going to be, again, I'm going to say the same thing I said before. There's going to be different situations where we land throughout the diaspora where we're not going to be able to assist ourselves by being Pan-African. Okay.
But somebody said they're not going to do nada. Here's the thing. You said taking options off the table. Africa helping us is not an option. African nations, I used to say from the time period that we was fighting in the Civil War forward, they never tried to help us do anything. But some people said, well, they were under colonialism and they was dealing with their own things. Fine. Okay, from the 50s and 60s, when they all started to gain independence from European powers, they've done nothing to try to help us. These people haven't done anything to try to help us. I hear people all the time talk about we should try to start investing in Africa. Why should we, as a small group of people in the United States, largely wealthless, invest in a continent that has 50-something nation states, governments, economies, whole citizenships, citizenries, everything, right? They got all militaries, police, they got all the stuff that they need.
They got seats on seats in UN Council,
United Nations seats. All of this, right? These are actual nation states. They want.
You froze up, Ali. All right. Well, Ali froze up on us. So this is what I want to do. I pull this up all the time. How much foreign aid the world receives from the United States? Okay, let's go through it. Ethiopia, 1.1 billion. And this is U.S. foreign aid by country, right? So this article comes from the U.S. aid from American people. I guess you could punch in www. Oh no, that's a whole long URL down there at the bottom. Let me see if I could. Maybe somebody will capture that because I'm not gonna try to read through all of that. So let's go through this because I don't understand these arguments anymore, because the more you know, the more you grow, which is why we bring these things out. Ethiopia receives $1.1 billion in aid annually from the United States. Sudan, 924 million. The Democratic Republic of Congo, 494 million. Benin, 419 million. Hell, even Haiti receives 307 million. Malawi, Mali, Liberia, Uganda, Tanzania, Somalia, Mozambique, Kenya, Nigeria, 852 million, right? So we see all of Zambia, all of these African countries are receiving aid from the United States of America. How is it that we are making a push to fight colonialism by this pretended unity? Now we should somehow amass our resources together globally when these African nations rely on aid from the United States of America. I'm not asking this question to you, brother. It's a rhetorical question. I'm hoping that you go back, listen to this, and slowly but surely abandon the ideas that you have. And I'm going to be bold enough to tell you that. You know why, brother? Because we had to do the same exact things. We came up in Garveyisms, Noble Drew Ali-isms, Elijah Muhammad-isms, Pan-Africanisms. We came, a lot of what you've said tonight, brother, we were saying that stuff 10, 12 years ago. Hell, probably even 6, 7 years ago. You see, there's an elevation of the education. The more you know, the better you understand, especially when it comes to our particular plight as a people. So that's why we can bring somebody on and try our best to school them up. The debates and arguments in school. And we know that you're fighting from your position. So it's hard to just say, man, all right, y'all right. Y'all right. This has been a position that you've stood on for a long time. So we understand that. Only thing we can hope is that you would go back and watch this part, especially where you came on. Hell, watch the whole thing to gain an understanding of why we're saying what we're saying, that we need to move away from these fantastical ideas and thinking, because they unground us, if that's a term, from being grounded in what we need to be grounded in. And Garvey and Drew Ali and all of these different people that came, they took us off the path of political power, which is why we are in the position that we are in now. And the only thing many of us have left is aspirationalism, to whereas we aspire to be rich like celebrities, so we try to live vicariously through them. The other aspect is this African thing, right, where we just imagine Africa being Wakanda, basically, where there's a bunch of vibranium and we can make vibranium weapons and take over the world and conquer white supremacy. It doesn't happen that way. But if we can get our political house in order, one of the plans, for instance, that we're developing, brother, is that we want to move all of our, no, Ali is not in the joint, that we want to move all of our people, as many as we can, back to the South so that we could have numerical majorities. There was a book written on it right here. Get this book, brother. Read it. Read it. The Devil You Know by Charles M. Blow. Read this book. It's a resource, right? Some people tell us to read stuff, and it's usually about Pan-Africanist ideas that the Pan-African who wrote it didn't never accomplish. This is something that we can accomplish because there's precedence for it. That's why Bernie Sanders is still the senator in Vermont, because a group of hippies back in, I think, the 60s or the 70s, which this brother highlights in this book, decided that they were going to go to Vermont. They slept in tent cities, but they got out there and they became a political majority out there. Many of them people are blatant racists. That's why Bernie Sanders is against reparations. If he comes out in favor of it, he knows that his electorate is going to vote him out for somebody more favorable to their bigoted liking. Now imagine, brother, you said you're in Alabama?
I'm not in Alabama, but that's where I'm from.
But you from Alabama? Where you're at right now, if you don't mind telling us?
Atlanta, Georgia.
Okay, so you right down here where I'm at right now. So my thing is, if you just seen Georgia flip blue, with Georgia flipped blue because of the vote of the freedmen and other groups, of course, but it was largely that freedmen vote. Imagine if we can flood our people in Alabama and Mississippi and Louisiana, bring more into Georgia, South Carolina. Now we start to control our politics. And that situation at the border never, ever happens with the Haitians. Because somebody said we're xenophobes. We're not xenophobes. We're just freedmen first. So I want to thank you, brother, for coming on and being bold enough to come on. A lot of people be ducking and smoke. Like that one brother in the chat, Barutu, whatever his or her name was, you know, but you were willing to come on. Did you feel disrespected by any of us? No, not at all, right?
You know, maybe misunderstood, but no, not disrespected.
No doubt. No doubt.
We
So look,
appreciate you, Doc.
definitely. So, yo, we gonna close it out. So peace, brother. Thanks for coming on, man.
Salute.
All right, peace. So, Grim, you excuse me. You want to take us up out of here with a recap and.
Whew, man, I just want to say, you know, we got a flag, man. Like, I was hesitant to actually do this show You know, like, because I was a follower of Marcus Garvey. I was a member of the UNIA. I was a member of the Moorish Science Temple. I've been studied the teachers of the Nation of Islam. I mean, you know, so it's not like you know, you got some crazy agent dudes talking about this stuff. You know, me and Naheem came up through these schools. You know, Naheem, 5%, you know, nation. You know, I mean, we come up and when we studied, we was masters at that stuff. We just weren't no members. So, you know, man, but anyway, to go to the park, man, y'all see this flag behind me, man. It's the Juneteenth flag. This the flag we fly. It's not the red, black, and green flag. You know, I don't fly that flag no more after I learned what it really represents in Garvey's affinity and his admiration for the, you know, the Irish movements and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? So this is what I fly behind me. And there's also another flag that they call the Black American flag, which is red and black with the broadsword in it, which is for basically my my icon picture that you see right here. So we got a Black American flag. You follow what I'm saying to you? You know, this flag right here, we got Juneteenth, June 19th, 1865, which is a new era of time now. And now you know what I'm talking about when I say that.
That's right.
And basically, man, we were long overdue for this critique of Garvey because we knew it, you know, I knew it would make people mad. I wasn't comfortable with it. But when I sat down and I talked with the brothers and we was basically going in and sharing some of these things, what Hubert Harrison said, I mean, man, for me, if A. Philip Randolph said something about this man, I mean, when you look at A. Philip Randolph's life and a lot of those freedmen lives and stuff like that, man, these weren't people, you know, I was kind of skeptical about the Garvey and Dubois debates and stuff like that, man. But for me, man, that whole A. Philip Randolph going against him, man, that basically did it for me, man, because we're not talking about nobody that's just vying for power over the hearts and the minds of the freedmen. We're talking about people who are actually trying to make us free. These people weren't no agents.
Let me. I want to interject real quick, Grim, right? Because you brought up A. Philip Randolph and Garvey, and I brought up Hubert Harrison, and I want to just say what A. Philip Randolph, who critiqued Garvey. A. Philip Randolph was a freedman. Hubert Harrison was a Caribbean, right? But look at what A. Philip Randolph said of Hubert Harrison. It says, Hubert Harrison was described by activist A. Philip Randolph as the father of Harlem radicalism, and by the historian Joel Augustus Rogers as the foremost African, this J.A. Rogers, the foremost African-American intellect of his time. John G. Jackson of the American Atheist described him as the Black Socrates, and even he had a critique of Marcus Garvey. Yeah, go ahead, Grim. I just wanted to interject that point.
Indeed, man, and you know, like I said, we got a flag, you know, and man, for like what you were saying, brother, for you know, for me, man, like when A. Philip Randolph was saying what he was saying, I was basically done with the whole issue, and I was comfortable enough to come out and basically finish it and do the critique. Now, as far as like the history and knowledge of our people and where we come from and knowing who we are, you know, man, we ain't need Elijah, Drew Ali, and Garvey for that because the freedmen was already teaching that. Moses Dixon was already teaching that. J. Rogers, you know, we always talk about more, and then we put Noble Drew Ali in his old shitty ass 60-page pamphlet like it gave us all knowledge and wisdom. But most of the history that we got about the Moors and stuff like that come from people like what's this brother name right here? Light and Truth, Robert Benjamin Lewis, a freedman.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? And also J.A. Rogers, we kick them people on the side, then we'll give a Noble Drew Ali props when J.A. Rogers give an exhaustive breakdown of African history and ancient history of our people and this relation, the Moors, all that stuff. But then we'll hold this punk ass nigga named Noble Drew Ali up as some holy and divine prophet, and Garvey and all of these, and Elijah Muhammad and stuff like that, when they had freedmen, even though Elijah was a freedman, Drew was a freedman, but they were a mission drift. But we had freedmen that was giving us the esoteric knowledge of our history, the things that was hidden from us, who were born right amongst us as freedom. So, man, everything we got, our freedmen ancestors gave it to us. We don't need no mission drift. We don't need no people coming in trying to make us Orientals and all of that kind of stuff, man, telling us that we Asiatics and we Moroccans and we this, we that. Man, we got the freedman history, man, the freedman knowledge. You follow what I'm saying? If you want to know, go get this book, Light and Truth. You follow what I'm saying? We are the freedmen. That's who we are. That's what we was designated in 1865, which really became the new era in time for the freedmen.
That's right.
You follow what I'm saying? Bro, we got everything that we need right here amongst the freedmen. We got Chi-Town. We got Motown. We got the culture. We took the elements of the rice and the okra. We made, like the brother that was on that documentary we talked about. Black people in America, the only people in the world that has a cuisine named after something that's just transcendental and spiritual. We call it what?
Soul food.
The only people in the world that got that, man. You follow what I'm saying? So I don't want to ramble on. Freedmen first. Peace and blessings.
Yeah. Woo. Man, tonight was a powerful, powerful program. I love it because we are closing up every escape hatch. We're not even closing up the escape hatches. We are pulling up to the escape hatches with cement trucks, opening them up and filling them with cement so that they could never, ever be retreated to again. That's what we do here at Be the Power. And it is simple as that. So, freedmen first, y'all already know. I'll leave y'all with the motto of the platform, which is don't just fight the power, become the power. And then, and only then, will you have the power to make a change. With that, I say peace.
And, do the same thing here at FBA News and Updates. Information, we inform correctly, we debunk, we we replay things like this, lives like this, that's very informational, and we play it. We show love, we give flowers, and it's here same way. Piece of the chat. A black woman made the flag. This is my life. Ben Chain. Wait, and I mess up your name every time. Okay, so this is a super chat for my life been in exchange for yours. FBA brother representing in the chat for real. Late live. Salute to you. He said, "Hey, black one made the flag." And another super chat. If it was a black woman that made the American flag, $5 super chat each time. Two super chats just now. Appreciate that. Thank you, family. Sounds like you're enjoying the live. Hope everybody else enjoyed the live. And if you don't know the time, we go live. I go live 8:39, something like that, and in the morning. So as I end this live, I'm going to be live in the morning. Around like I'm saying morning. It might be. Just know I'm live either in between 9 a.m. to about 11 p.m. I said 11 p.m. 9 a.m. to about 12 p.m. Early family. So you could pull up and definitely expect to, hear some great information coming from these airways.
Take
it from the beginning. Take it from the beginning.
Assistance, 1991. Robin's Airport Assistance, 1991. They feed you assistance, 1991. Black Wall Street Resistance, 1939. FDR New Deal Assistance, 1941. Fill a brand on Floody and go to assistance. 30, free blacks were aspirational. 1800s, free men were aspirational. Early 1900s, there were Negroes rules. Oh, 1800s, we were black and beautiful. Early 1800s, free blacks were aspirational. Late 1800s, free men were aspirational. Early 1900s, there were Negroes rules. Oh, late 1800s, we were black and beautiful. They've always had assistance. Oh, they've always had assistance. We always had assistance. We always had assistance. Haiti takes 3. General order for the assistance. 93. HOLC assistance. 9031. Robin's Airport Assistance. 9092. Your feet for assistance. 92. Black Wall Street Resistance. 9032. FDR New Deal Assistance. 92 51. Fill a brand off here, we don't to resist. 80 we always had assistance. 80 83. General order for the assistance. 9033. HOLC assistance. 9031. Robin's Airport Resistance. 9092. Youth Victor Assistance. 9092. Black Wall Street Resistance. 9033. FDR New Deal Assistance. 2231. Feel a brand off here, we don't to resistance. Early 1800s, free blacks were aspirational. Early 1800s, free men were aspirational. Early 1900s, there were Negroes rules. Oh, early 1800s, we were black and beautiful. Early 1800s, free blacks were aspirational. Early 1800s, free men were aspirational. Early 1900s, there were Negroes rules. Oh, early 1800s, we were black and beautiful. They always had us.
Na na na.
Cut the check and pay me what you want me. No more pants can talk, nah, nah, nah. No more pants can talk, blah, blah, nah. Cut the check and pay me what you want me. No more pants can talk, nah, nah, nah. No more pants can talk, blah, blah, blah. You stole us, you sold us, you owe us. It's my money and I want it now. It's my money and I can spend it high. You pocket watching, stop pocket watching. Cause my pocket's popping. You watch us get raided and you watch us get slaved. Now watch us get paid. Cut the check and pay me what you owe me. No more pants can talk, nah, nah, nah. No more pants can talk, nah, nah, nah. Cut the check and pay me what you owe me. No more pants can talk, nah, nah, nah. No more pants can talk, blah, blah, blah. You stole us, you sold us, you owe us. It's my money and I want it now. It's my money and I can spend it high. You pocket watching, stop pocket watching. Cause my pocket's popping. You watch us get raided and you watch us get slaved there. Now watch us get paid. You stole us, you sold us, you owe us. It's my money and I want it now. It's my money and I can spend it high. You pocket watching, stop pocket watching. Cause my pocket's popping. You watch us get raided and you watch us get slaved now. Now watch us get paid.
Reparations are lineage based, not your image erased. No different than carrot comes, so you could keep your African and run somewhere else with your marathon. Laugh now, cry later, cause we gonna laugh when you cry together. Alligator, Alcatraz, there's no soul leader. The code is the leader, there's no soul leader. The code is the leader. Subscribe to FBA News and Updates, yeah, yeah, yeah. Subscribe to FBA News and Updates, yeah, yeah, yeah. I heard tethers flock together, so if you hit one with a rock, then they'll drop together. Why cosplay? Accept your own and be yourself. When you're left alone, you can feed yourself. There's no soul leader. The code is the leader. There's no soul leader. The code is the leader. There's no soul leader. We gatekeeping the culture. These gate-seeking vultures. Dr. Cullis says someone gotta hold the line, and somebody gotta hold the signs. No coons, no tethers, no room for white supremacists. We fight, we got it. Mayweather, Mike Tyson. We fight, they take flight. They got Spirit, Delta, US Airlines, messed up hairlines. Alligator, Alcatraz. There's no soul leader. There's no soul. Say it with me, family. There's no soul leader. There's no soul leader. There's no soul leader. Make sure to like and subscribe. Make sure to like and subscribe. brothers flock together. So if you hit one with a rock, then they'll drive together. Why cosplay? Accept your own and be yourself. When you're left alone, you can feed yourself. There's no soul leader. Cold is a leader. There's no soul leader. Cold is a leader. There's no soul leader. Cold is the leader. There's no soul leader. Cold is the leader. There's no soul leader. Cold is the leader. There's no soul leader. Say it with me, family. There's no soul leader. The code is the leader. Make sure to like and subscribe. Subscribe. FBA News and Updates. Subscribe. FBA News and Updates. We fight. We really fight. From the morality wars, civil wars, civil wars, civil rights around once but let on our rise. We fight. We really fight. We fight. We really fight. From the revolutionary wars, civil wars, civil rights, it's about rights, but living our rights. We fight. We really fight. We fight. We really fight. From the revolutionary wars, civil rights, was about rights, but living our rights. We fight. We really fight. If it's all love, then why did the diaspora war? If it's all love, then why isn't it love you're asking for? If it's all love, then why aren't you practicing it more and more? If it's all love, then we're asking you act like it more and more. We fight, we really fight. From the revolutionary wars, civil rights was about rights, but living our rights. We fight, we really fight. We fight. We really fight. From the revolutionary wars, civil rights was about rights, but living our rights. We fight. We really fight. If it's all love, then why did they ask for a war? If it's all love, then why isn't it love you're asking for? If it's all love, then why aren't you practicing it more and more? If it's all love, then we're asking you act like it more and more. If it's all love, then why did I ask for a war? If it's all love, then why isn't it love you're asking for? If it's all love, then why aren't you practicing it more and more? If it's all love, then we're asking you act like it more and more. We fight, we really fight. From the revolutionary war, civil rights was about rights, we living our rights. We fight, we really fight. Then why did I ask for a war? If it's all love, then why isn't it love you're asking for? If it's all love, then why aren't you practicing it more and more? If it's all love, then we're asking you act like it more and more.
That show me subscribe.
Make no mistake, we're the only black people in y'all that only eat rat, eat cat people. You ain't black, you ain't that. Matter of fact, your black is repo, I'm taking it back. Cause y'all making it whack, faking jacks y'all from the slave, raiding the tax. Bitch. We built the foundation, our innovations were groundbreaking. You ain't wanna get down, now you around, hating, faking, with the linear in and out, the ground shaking. Someone say, FBI, we don't run away. We stay, we slay, we pray, we say, Someone say, FBI, we don't run away. We stay, we slay, we pray, we say, people and y'all that only eat rat, eat cat. People, you ain't black, you ain't that. Matter of fact, yo, black is repo, I'm taking it back. Cause y'all making it whack, faking jacks y'all from the slave, raiding the tax. Breaks, pause, pause. We built the foundation of innovations with groundbreaking. Y'all ain't wanna get down, now you around, hating, faking, wiggling and eating, now the ground shaking. Someone say, FBA, we don't run away. We stay, we slay, we pray, we say. Someone say, FBA, we don't run away. We stay, we slay, we pray, we say. Say it loud, I'm black and I'm proud. 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 Say it loud, I'm not ashamed of being black. Black Panthers, Black Wall Street, Black power, Black love, Black man, Black woman, the Black dollar, Black love. I'm not African, I've never been to Africa. I'm never going to Africa, no ancestor from Africa. We're Black American, but don't forget the foundation of say it loud, I'm black and I'm proud. 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 Say it loud.